What is up, everybody? We are live on Monday, October 6th, 2025. And we got DOJ Greenlit My Murder. Red light. Why? Mike Gill. I'm going to pass it along. We got a lot to cover, so let's get right to it, Mike.
And it's all evidence, and it all ties together. And it's why we couldn't open Pandora's box. Green light, red light. Believe me, there was a green light, and you're going to see it. But why is Mike Gill still alive? Now, listen, it wasn't that Flynn didn't try to smoke me, but it also explains where we are. And I need to have you understand where we are. And I was pretty sick recently. And the thought in my head was the importance of getting this to you before something happens to me. Because after this, you can't say you don't know. You're not going to want to know. But isn't that generally what the truth is? But you don't want to hear? You don't want to hear Donald Trump's in the box. I didn't want to. But he is. So first, I want to start by saying, what are you watching? What is happening right now? What did I tell you the head of this, I don't even want to call it deep state, of this corruption that runs through our country completely? It's the Department of Justice. My path has always been to expose them. If you can uncover what protects, then you can get the truth. And we can get our country back. If all we're doing is attacking what is getting exposed, you never pull this issue out by the roots, and it survives. So what is happening now that has put the Department of Justice in a position of self-preservation? That's what you're seeing. Self-preservation for the institution of corruption. What is the DOJ? But lawyers and law firms that control our courts, that interface with foreign entities such as the Mossad, our own CIA, Defense Intelligence. What controls our country is blackmail and extortion. What are the entities that are connected to the DOJ? That business isn't exactly that. And you'll see that. You're going to see that each and every one of those intelligence entities, including the FBI, with the DOJ, have all come to me. Not me going to them coming to me. All right, so let's take a look where we are right now and what we're seeing. And what has got the Department of Justice nervous? What were the ways in? I told you the way in was the Epstein files. They're never going to open them completely, but the Department of Justice is nervous that you just might demand answers. Answers that might connect to the DOJ. Because the question you just might ask, I don't know. Who protected Epstein and Maxwell? Who protected them? They were Mossad. They were blackmailers and money launderers. And where did they wind up? Where did Maxwell get arrested? In the state of New Hampshire. After what you were going to see. Who is he represented? By Bill Shaheen's law firm, who's on that same $50 million. Who is the Department of Justice? It goes back to Whitey Bulger and the Boston FBI that was mob connected, which is why I was working with U.S. Attorney Durham, who gave you the Russian hoax. And it may be a bigger hoax than you understand and know. So in other words, that's on the table. Maxwell is going to have to be separated from that, or you're never going to hear the truth. You're never going to hear the complete truth, because the complete truth is the DOJ. Now, what else was on the table? That I created the rest of the paths to the DOJ. That is General Flynn and the insurrection. That is why the Department of Justice sent him to intercept me from the Oval Office on that December 18th. Who knew what I had was the Department of Justice. And it goes back to Lolan, which you see me give that evidence to. So the Department of Justice owns that evidence, which is why my life wasn't taken. Because as soon as that was established, they would have pointed to Lolan. What did Lolan do in complete panic? He gave it to AG Barr and Sessions and the Washington Bureau of the FBI. Because you know what he was going to do? Hey, listen, they didn't do anything about it. But if
Right.
he gets murdered, they're going to ask me why. See? There it is. And you're going to learn more. But see, there's the path. What else did I tie to Flynn? It was my trip to Arizona, the brokered convention that Flynn was behind, along with Sununu. Flynn and Sununu again, New Hampshire. And what else was there? The confession of Liz Harris, the confession of Shelby Bush, and the insurrection plot from the beginning. All of it. They were part of it. All of it. Again, that's Flynn, and that's the brokered convention back to the Department of Justice. Now we turned around in the Pandora's box, the laundering network, but it's also the cartel. It's also the members of the Department of Justice. It goes back to them. It's also a path, and you're going to find out that Donald Trump's in it. Did we call out Penn National? We told you they were part of this laundering network. We got more to tell you about that too, but I don't want to spoil it for you. Did me and D do a podcast within 10 days or so after our podcast? And we told you they were going to eliminate the Sinaloa cartel and Anagos because it's the fastest path to who sold them protection, the Department of Justice. And what happened? Busts of the Sinaloa cartel, like never before in history, around the country, including New Hampshire, Florida, which I gave you, Texas, where I gave you, and Arizona, where they sent me to get smoked.
Yep, and then some little unknown place in New Hampshire just so happens to be connected to all these big city busts. Then there's this place in New Hampshire that no one ever fucking heard of.
6,000 people. But I knew, right? So understand, each way simultaneously is a path to the Department of Justice and their protection network that exposes them directly. So what happens? Take out the cartel. Move Maxwell. Tina Peters is going, I got something to say. And Trump's going, oh no, we got to let her go. Why isn't she gone? Because the Department of Justice will use Tina Peters to take out Flynn. You know what Flynn was? Rogue. Not the Department of Justice. You get it? There's the plan. Self-preservation. All right. So let's take you on a trip. It'll explain this. We'll educate you. You're going to find out the mafia is really alive and well. Guess what? Organized crime still exists. Owning casinos. Okay. All right, D. Let's hit it from the top.
All right. And this was played, if for those of you on Rumble saw this, this will play into what we're going over right now. But who else does this? Who else takes these envelopes and catches people? You caught Titka talking about how they had a fucking mole in your company.
It was only the Treasury Inspector General of the United States.
There you go.
And making a deal, protection of the IRS. Why the IRS? Because they're part of the laundering network, tied to Bill Shaheen and Senator Shaheen, and Bill on the $50 million. Who's representing Maxwell? Listen, mathematically, what I'm going to tell you can't happen another way. Now, I'm just going to set this up briefly because you're going to see a lot. But what this is the evidence I gave Lullen. What this evidence is what saved my life. You want to know why Mike Gill's life? It was giving that to Lullen. It was putting that recording of the Inspector General out to the public. And now we're going to take you from here, and then I'm going to take you back. I'm going to take you back to Mafia Alive and Well. I'm going to take you back to what got us that evidence and how that was created. So you're going to see this evidence, but you're going to then see the story behind the evidence. Okay, hit it, D.
Let's show you what I'm going to bring to the FBI. You see this? This is Brian Toomey's computer. When they tried to set up a hit on me in Miami, it's on here. Shaheen, Walker, coordinating everything. This is his phone, right? Now that the FBI office is open, and they may just do their job, let's see. Because I'm going to tell you what this phone gets us. Brian Toomey had 10,000 text messages in 6 months to 4 people. What's the bet? It's Alex Walker and Bill Shaheen. That's right. That's why Brian Toomey had to disappear. Remember how the police department let him go? Well, that's why. All right? Let's not end there, because if you do get Brian, you do look at this, you get Bill Shaheen, you get Gene Shaheen, you get the IRS, you get the DRA. See?
Department of
Why
Revenue.
did they offer me 50? This is why. You see what this is?
Ooh.
It's going to be called mail fraud. The IRS asked for a release. I wouldn't deal with them. I wanted to deal with them only criminally, which is why I dealt with TITCA, the criminal division of the IRS. I dealt with a gentleman named Tom Morley. If you remember, when I got the recording for the Adjutant General of the IRS, Tim Campus, saying we had a mole, it was Morley that called him and forgot to hang up the phone. What I called Morley on was this accountant that all of a sudden sent me this envelope with all these envelopes inside, unopened, from the IRS. Turns out that Tom Morley coordinated Curtis Morley to pretend to act as an accountant. Except he wasn't my accountant. He was dealing with Brian Toomey and Carrie, which is on this computer. Not only is that fraud within the IRS, the same bastards will intimidate you, take your home, garnish your wage. It's committing fraud. I want to show you every one of those letters from the IRS. You'll see them again. All right? Every single one unopened for years. That's a cover-up. So again, this is mail fraud involving the IRS, involving Tom Morley, Curtis Morley. See? Now we're going to drop that on the feds. What are they going to deny this? Impossible. The computer? Impossible.
Which is why I'm still alive.
Let's show you what I'm going to bring to the FBI.
Hold up. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Which is why I'm still alive. Those envelopes were sealed. It was an operation protecting the IRS. And that's what Lullen received. And you know who was on that phone and computer? The Department of Justice themselves, which is why when we took that evidence to the FBI, video after video, you see them locking the door, not opening it, mailing everything back. It was incriminating them. That's it. So we're going to show you how that was all collected. But there is no more important evidence in this universe than what you see there. It incriminates and exposes the Department of Justice as running and protection for all that corrupted. It corrupted our government, works with foreign government, controls the Senate and Congress by blackmail and extortion. That evidence there, and the DOJ owns it. All right, hit it, D.
Hit it, D. Julie knows. All right, let's pull this up. Let's get back to the evidence that was given to Lullen.
Now, there you go. Hey, listen, we're going to step through this, and I want you. This is going to get pretty entertaining. You've never seen a mafia movie this good. You've never seen any of this good. In fact, you know what I'm going to tell you? Nobody's ever told you this. Nobody's ever told you the truth. Nobody's ever exposed the DOJ. This is it. And those documents that you've seen and you've seen before, they own it. You see that evidence that I was holding, those recordings and all? That's in there, all of it. So in other words, you can hit the next page. But why I'm showing you this, and you can copy it, they own it. And if you see what they did with it, right? You get the back page too?
Yep, got it right here.
Hit the back page, right. You'll see that they gave it to the Attorney General of the United States. You'll see it. They gave it to the Washington Bureau of the FBI. They own it. They own Anagos. They own TICA. They own the money laundering network. Now, remember, they are what protects that. This is self-incrimination. Why did Lullen give it to the Attorney General? Because he wasn't going to get caught holding the hot potato and saying, well, why didn't you do something about it? This is why. That's evidence, and they own it. Okay, D. So let's go through this again. Everything was done systematically.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is this was all turned in during Trump's first term.
Trump is who appointed Lullen. Right.
That's him.
That's our key witness. He only wanted to be governor and changed his fucking mind after this. And what you're not seeing is the communications with me and Lullen, if we can get them through FISA, which is they're afraid of too, or I called him out, figured out his part of it, and told him I'd put his ass in jail. Now, this is only the most powerful law enforcement officer in the country next to, at that time, A.G. Barr. Oh, and they brought in Durham. And I was working with fucking Durham. Again, he's also the person responsible for arresting Maxwell. We haven't left the story. We haven't left Mike Gill's back fucking yard. All right, hit it.
All right, let's get to the tape. Do you need to set this up at all?
Yeah, real briefly.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was, you're going to find a lot of this was controlled by the Mossad. It was the DOJ who sent O'Keefe and Day. Now, Day, what they were supposed to be doing is go into state of corruption, take our witnesses, check our evidence, cover up the murder in her attempt in Miami, and then set up the other murder attempts. You always come back to this. But at this point, when I had those evidence delivered, who was with me? Eileen Landy and Aaron Day. They witnessed it. And at the same time, I had a call from Patrick Dillon from the IRS threatening me. It was synchronized. And then I said, well, fuck yous. I called Tom Morley from Tick and go, hey, I just got this. What's this envelope from the IRS? And Curtis Morley? Are you related to this guy, Curtis Morley? I can never speak to you again. Then he hangs up the phone, or thought he did, and it was a race to Tim Campus, the Inspector General of the Treasury. And I had Day record it. He didn't want to, but he had to. All right, I choked the shit out of him. All right, hit it.
I love it.
I don't care. Mike, giant fellow, long friend. They're the long best guy that has. So I said nothing. I did nothing but give him back. In one capacity, you want me to write something like a memo, email. Good times, Tim. This is going to be your case. I got to call him, Chris, and I'm going to tell him, like, we have a plan. We've had an undercover interview.
Okay. I understand what happened. I was on the phone with him. He thought he hung up. He was talking to a couple guys next to him. The race was to call to Tim Campus, and he gave me the number. I'm calling right after he's trying to beat him. He beat me to Tim Campus. That's going, hey, Tim, this is your case. He was only the Inspector General of the United States. It was the cover-up. And after that, I posted it. 2 ticket agents called me up, begged me not to put that on the internet, begged me. And that's also sent Lullen. So from there, and those sealed envelopes, those same sealed envelopes was the reason for those phone calls. Well, there you go. Well, we do have that in good order, huh?
Right. And so you had a Facebook page, right? Or did you have State of Corruption and you had a website, and you were getting millions and millions of views. People were onto this. They were following you and all that you were doing.
I got 8 million views on this one and 4 million on another. And you know who sued Facebook? Bill Shaheen. Boom, that was off of Facebook. Nobody's seen it and shut it down.
So when you had traction, millions of people were seeing it for one. But then you have to question, because Bill Shaheen did that to Facebook, why have they not done that to the YouTube channel that still has the evidence up?
Good question. And you ready? Who would it incriminate if they took them down? Department of Justice. Who might need them to take out Trump? Who's in the Pandora's box? Who suddenly I get more evidence? And we don't want to spoil it for you, but it's that division. And it also has the name of Lullen on it. It also has the name of A.G. Barr on it. You see, I couldn't keep them up. In fact, there was a time where you'd sneeze, they'd take you off of YouTube. They didn't take this stuff off. Do you know what they took off? The videos of actual murder attempts. That's what they took off. Because it might just have you ask the question. See, you don't understand the importance of that then. Not now even, but clearly then. But me wrestling a 6'7" fucking Russian asshole, you might draw attention. Okay.
Right. That could have been Ukrainian, eh?
I'm thinking it was, but I didn't understand it then. Oh, there's Aaron Day, the beauty. And you know who was Aaron Day tied with? O'Keefe. And you know when Aaron Day came here, I'm going to show you how I met him. There's James O'Keefe. And running his election. Those were the libertarians. You know all these millions up our ass trying to get my address even now? Libertarians from New Hampshire working with Aaron Day and James O'Keefe. Who's James O'Keefe? The fucking Mossad. What did he do? Blackmail and extortion, secret videotape. I didn't know the asshole. I knew him then. That's 10 years ago. I tried to tell you who they were and what they were, right? And they intercepted me and tried to have me murdered because it was the DOJ that sent them. And who was he going to? You're going to hear the rest of this. He was connected to Flynn. But that's the reason and that's the purpose.
Yeah, and let's not forget boobs and guns. So this was Eileen Landy when she worked for you and then got married to Aaron Day. And if people pay attention to what we're showing you here, this is Aaron Day tweeting that James O'Keefe is at his house. This is how connected they were. And the funny thing about this, I just wanted to say, is that through the process of Mike Gill losing all of his money, but Aaron Day being involved in that, he lost a shit ton of weight. It was very stressful, and Mike just brushed it off and kept on fighting.
He went.
But this is who he married.
Right. He went to hiding for 4 years through statutes of limitations. And what happened was Alex Walker sued him because they were afraid that O'Keefe and Day would double cross them. Now, what Day did was he turned, and that was his wife, only married because of not testifying against one's spouse. That was the protection. He was a libertarian president, and so was she separately. Each term of the libertarian under O'Keefe and running for office, they were always connected. Where did she go to work for after me? An Israeli military company in Massachusetts. It was all Mossad. It was all trained. They knew what I was on was that money laundering network. It's what O'Keefe did, the undercover and so forth, and use it to blackmail and extortion. That's what controls your Senate and your Congress. What can control them more but their money and not an unreasonable understanding of how they made $1 billion? Hey, Joe Biden, where'd you get the $1 billion? And remember, this isn't Republicans and Democrats. Will you get that out of your head? This is business right. Of evil, and that business is division. But that's who these people are, and that's who sent them. It was O'Keefe. That's why Project Veritas and O'Keefe had been separated, just in case there was an insurance policy. And we've got more. All right.
Right. And just real quickly, she worked for you during the defamation case where you lost all your money, right?
She was the paralegal. When we caught Brian Toomey and Carrie Lemieux, they replaced them with Day and Landy. She corrupted the cases. She was working for them as Carrie Lemieux. We never had an honest attorney. We never had an honest paralegal. They ran the show and controlled it all. And listen, these are all witnesses. And if you think they won't flip, they'll flip faster than a top. I guarantee you, they'll all flip. So won't that Mary?
Yeah, and so like when the cases or when the court dates were being set up, she was finagling them and not communicating with you, and you weren't showing up, and they were finding ways to get shit pushed through without you coming to the courtroom and fucking everything up because you were exposing the shit out of them. You also had over 100 witnesses, did you not, that they didn't allow for you to bring forward?
I had 106 witnesses. I had 46 witnesses that already had made each and every one of statements that worked inside the cartel, that worked inside the casinos and so forth. We had them all. No evidence allowed, no witnesses allowed. And they were giving up my locations each and every time. They came in to snatch the evidence and cover up Brian Toomey. You know that computer? That computer. Those letters. Prior to that. So the cover team was replaced by the Mossad's cover team.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny that after this fatty got flipped, he lost all that weight and looks like he's super stressed. And then there's questions about this whole situation with her. But she speaks multiple languages, right?
I would walk into the office. She'd be speaking a different language. And you know one of the languages you're going to hear, she was covering up one of the murder attempts in Miami. That's why. When I turn around, you're going to hear the conversation we calling Miami. Going, what the fuck is this? They covered up a hair analysis. They tried to murder me. Them again. Who was present each time thereafter with those murder attempts? Fucking Aaron Day. All of it.
Look how we're tying, like how Mike's tied these together many times, but just please, as you learn this over and over again, and you see these pictures, Aaron Day was working with Mike, was connected to James O'Keefe. Mike started calling out James O'Keefe and all this bullshit when all this shit went down back at that time. She's a key part of this whole saga. But then what does it connect into? Boom! Mr. Fat Face Mossad, who's lost a lot of weight and is now bald. Alex Jones.
Well, think about this, too. It's like Aaron Day. See, that gives us Day. That gives us O'Keefe. O'Keefe becomes expendable. We're going to show you another clip in a minute of that Laura Lomer. We're going to turn around. Interestingly enough, Alex Jones just lost his appeal to get shut down. We might be in some timing network. There goes Jones, who's being funded by Spillman just as O'Keefe, which is the Mossad. Again. See, I mean, I didn't come to James O'Keefe. He came to my house, my home, that guy. Right. And you're going to see how it's tied together.
Boom.
How many times did I show you this? How many times did I try to tell you, look at the connection with O'Keefe? Who's he getting paid from? Spillman? These are the Mossad. These are Israeli contributors from the Mossad. And who's get paid also? Lomer? But Alex Jones. It's connected. Now, they never told you this. They never spoke about it. Why are they speaking about it now? Interesting. Wait a minute. Jones is in trouble. Maxwell is in trouble and exposed. Flynn's in trouble. The DOJ is going to have to call him a rogue. And all of a sudden, we connect to James O'Keefe. I think we have a problem. And Laura Lomer's talking. Wait till you hear the rest of that. So in other words, there's the connection. There's the Mossad, right? I believe the next thing, we have all right, hit it. D.
We have the Laura Loomer, but people take your screenshots as you need them throughout the presentation, and then obviously go back during the replay. But then we have Laura Loomer, who might be a Larry Loomer. There you go.
Now, let me see if I can read that here. Oh. Now remember, Spillman, right? And you'll see this. There's a statue of Spillman in Israel. All right, let me see.
And we do have that.
Yeah, pop that while I look for this, because I have a hard time reading it from. Okay. All right, let's go over Loomer. Now, there's a lesson you're going to learn in this too. Ready?
Yep, just real quick. There's this statue.
Right. That's in Israel.
And it's in Israel. Just imagine that. Mr. Shillman, the shill, right. Funding a lot of these people.
Funding O'Keefe and Alex Jones. Well, let's see. Now, remember Jones is in trouble and a way in. And he was on J6, tied to Flynn. Flynn's in trouble. I can make this bigger, too. With the insurrection, tied to me on December 18th in Arizona. Right? Maxwell is now, again, Mossad, tied to these same people. Let's see. Bob Shillman doesn't fund me. Even if it was actively funding me. There's nothing wrong with that. He is an American citizen who wrote a check to pay your salary when Charlie Kirk hired you at the Restoration Weekend in Palm Beach. She's speaking to the Candace Owens.
Right, Candace Owens. And she's saying he's an American citizen, and his statue here is in Israel.
Right. And guess what? Ready?
This is so ridiculous.
He used to fund me. Whoa. But I haven't taken money from him in years. I haven't asked for funds. Maybe I should, though, because I bet he would love to support my work again. I'm definitely underfunded for the quality that work I do. Oh, ain't that a bitch? Oh, wait a minute now. Maybe I should call him. All right, I want you people to pay attention to this. I've been doing this shit for 20 years. When you're caught, and you're going to figure it out, you know what their trick is? Don't deny it. Embrace it. Oh, I think I'm going to ask them for money again. Wait a minute. You were taking money from the Mossad, right? So in other words, embrace it. When I caught Kakavas and said, you're friends with Walker, that's the connection. Kakavas was a United States attorney. You know what he said to me? Mike, we're not friends. We're best friends. Meaning these assholes are trained, by the way. That's what it means. I digress. Ready? Dr. Bob, they're embracing it. You see it? Listen, trick the sheep. You ain't running shit. I got rich from reading bullshit. As I called them, funded Project Veritas. Oh, they did fund. When I was working with Project Veritas, who do you think sent the assholes? Now, when I was at Veritas, I was a shillman follow. Dr. Bob generously paid my salary when I worked for James O'Keefe. Oh, wait a minute. Again, she's embracing it. I made a lot of money he paid me. Now, why are you hearing this now?
Right.
Because O'Keefe's in trouble. She's not saying he's working with him. I'm not working with him now, but I did. That's O'Keefe when I worked with James O'Keefe. You see? I'm not getting any funding. I definitely could use some more funding for my investigation. Perhaps I'll give him a call and ask him for a donation since I sincerely deserve more funding for my exceptional work. Holy shit. Are you trying to imply that I have some type of Mossad spy and that Bob Spillman paid me to attack Charlie? You're a fucking spy and you weren't being paid by the fucking Mossad. So yes, Dorothy, you failed to mention that meeting with TP Turning Point USA, right after Charlie and I argued online. Charlie flew me to Arizona 2 weeks before his death. I had a meeting with Turning Point. He told me he wanted us to find common ground, and Turning Point I disguised would be the rise of a woke right in Islam. I started at a resort next to Turning Point and was giving a tour and had a nice 6-hour meeting with Turning Point. Charlie said he wanted me to help with several projects. She's also embracing Charlie Kirk for whatever you want to feel there. She's redirecting you or saying, hey, we're trying to do good things. Listen, she was generously paid by the Mossad working with O'Keefe. You have a weird obsession making Jewish people the scapegoat for your issues. Oh, not the Jews, not the Mossad, who we just dropped a couple of bombs on in Iran.
Right.
You've never silenced the way I was silenced. You have enjoyed black privilege your entire life. You left your long-term boyfriend, a rich white guy, working for companies owned by Jews. Oh, they're threatening the Jewish finger at each other. Remember, we had dinner, long-term ex-boyfriend. Let me see, Palm Beach. I still have the photo together. Stop with your bullshit. Okay. So what this means is what you have to understand, that is a disclosure by a spy who suddenly going to find out that they're going to be called out by the relationship with the Mossad. She's going to get called out that she was paid generously. So when you turn around and say she got 50 million, 30 million, she said, well, I did say it was generous. I wasn't hiding it. I told you, embrace it. But the point I'm making to you is the DOJ is cutting the paths to them. Self-preservation. O'Keefe is a path. You know why it's a path? Because I put him in a path. O'Keefe is in the evidence with Lullen. O'Keefe is tied to Aaron Day. And why these minions that they sent looking for my location have to all be prosecuted and investigated. Okay? Again, the path. So why cut that path? And you're going to find out this thing with Flynn is contagious. What did I keep saying for these couple of years to people out there? Contagion, contagion. That's what we're doing it. They're going to try to save themselves in the institution of the Department of Justice that controls it all. But they're cutting off the paths. I know the paths. I built them. You understand? I incriminate O'Keefe to that evidence with Lullen. I incriminate Flynn with the insurrection. I met with Tina Peters and talked to Tina Peters. I know the truth behind Tina Peters because she came to me with the truth. Okay, hit it, D.
Are you done with this?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So that was Laura Loomer. Some might call her, he, Larry Loomer. Just so you know.
And don't forget, when she worked for Project Veritas with O'Keefe, they were working with me and infiltrated in state of corruption. They were the Mossad. They were being paid by the Mossad while they went into my company, took those witnesses, destroyed those evidence, set up those court cases, and set me up to be murdered. That's Lori Loomer. That's James O'Keefe. And watch, for you to hear this and for her to write that, they put on a little show for you. They're getting paid by the same people. They put on a show for you because it means they fear the DOJ and the spin, which also means it's happening. Ask the Sinaloa cartel if we were right.
Right. And Lori Loomer is a perfect name for Laura Loomer because it's Larry and Laura. It's Larry and Laura perfectly blended together because we have no fucking clue. But when she's talking about getting funding and she's fighting now with Candace Owens, she's talking about Shillman. She's saying he's American, but his statue is oddly in Israel. It's just all very strange. But a lot of these people are starting to attack each other. So it's getting kind of interesting. And as Mike is laying out here, they might be eating each other.
And don't forget, it was Robert Shulman, Robert Mercer, who's a known Israeli funder, Nina Rosenwald. I mean, there's multiple all funneling into them. Who the fuck were these people? And what did they do?
Right.
Secretly videotape? And what do we say? Congress and the senators are controlled by blackmail? What do you use for blackmail? That. And you know what? Their money. There they are getting the money, which is why Flynn wanted it too. Okay, hit it.
Right, and then you talk about infiltration and the way they blackmailed some of the people that were working inside your organization. Who are these two characters?
Now, major players. You've seen Erin Day and Eileen Landy. These are the assholes they replaced. Brian Toomey was a VP of my company. She was running the paralegal in my legal department, right? She was in the bag. He was in the bag. They were also in the bag together, by the way. So they turned around, right? That's his computer that we had. That was his phone that we had. All those.
So he was the mole? He was the mole that was working in your office that they were referred to?
Yes.
He's the fucking mole guy on the left.
Right. I'm telling you, this is one of a hell of a. You couldn't put this in a movie. And he flipped her. Now she became the paralegal. Now you see that computer and you see the phone. You know how I got them? When I came back from Miami, I went to Brian Toomey. He said, if that guy could pass me, they were going to kill my son. He started bawling. I'm going, what? And then I confronted him. It wasn't me, Mike. It was Kerry Lemieux. It was from there I got his phone and that computer. And you know something? The next day, his whole house was empty. He was gone. His family was gone. His children were gone. The furniture was gone. In about 12 hours, boom, gone. But
So you think the DOJ put him in witness protection immediately?
1,000,000,000%. You can't move that fast. I am telling you, there was a for sale sign. He had just bought the home. It was fully furnished. I know. He stole my money to do it, which is part of another podcast.
Today they might call that Valhalla. They sent him to Valhalla.
Well, you see, that's the replacement. Her last, you're gonna meet. Remember these names, Brian Toomey, but remember Kerry Lemieux. You're gonna meet them again. So we're kind of going back in time to understand what happened here. And now you have to understand. So in other words, we're going back in time from the Aaron Day and Eileen Landy with O'Keefe to these two. And who was on their computer and phone? 10,000 with six, I think it was 6 month period. The DOJ, Bill Shaheen, Alex Walker. They were working directly with, who was coordinating with Morley? Brian Toomey, who was communicating, putting all the lawyers and fixing the cases like Eileen did. Kerry Lemieux, which makes them all witnesses, people. Hundreds of witnesses. Who'd you work for? Department of Justice. What is Bill Shaheen? He was the United States Attorney for the Department of Justice. So who recognized me? Who sent these people in? And then after I turned down their $50 million in 13 and 14, the year 2015 was a special year. Okay, hit it.
Then we got this guy.
Right. Alex Walker, my lawyer, on the $50 million, on the phone calls with Toomey. And
this motherfucker was your friend, or I don't know if any of these psychopaths are really friends, but pretended to be your friend, right?
Making millions a year, right, for my company. He was always connected to the Department of Justice. He was connected to Kakavas. Remember Kakavas? He's not my friend. He's my best friend. Just like Loomer just that number to you just a minute ago. He was the point man for the Department of Justice. When I bagged him, he was the youngest president of Divine Millimat history. What did I tell you made up the DOJ? Those law firms. That's why those law firms become the president of those law firms. Where did he go from that? Partners with the cartel into the Catholic Medical Center. Remember those truckload of fentanyl? They were coming out of the hospitals. Do you know where Kakavas later resigned after I snagged his ass? He went to the Dartmouth Hospital in the same capacity. And guess what? The Dartmouth Hospital is in the Pandora's papers, stealing billions. That is the drug distribution. Control the hospitals, the treatment centers. That's Alex Walker.
And he was pretending to be your friend, worked for your company. He was president at Divine Millimat. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
A law firm that was involved in your divorce, where they also fucked you over like 5 years or something like that, or years. They took like $5 million.
4 years, from you. $8 million. And I think if we didn't have depositions, we weren't fighting. They were controlling me and using it leverage. If you remember the $50 million settlement, and Lelin remembers because it's on his evidence, every one of those lawyers, including him, wanted a release. And they don't pay you $50 million for being wrong. They only wanted 18,000 documents destroyed. It goes back to the Department of Justice. It goes back to the distribution of drugs and fentanyl. Who did he become partners with and control? The treatment centers under Anagos. You see, I backed up the cartel to them, but it was all coordinated, and they will give him up. Okay, hit it, D.
And he's the one that said, "Don't be a martyr." Right?
100%. You know what? He knew enough about me. They knew. Even Bill Shaheen knew. This crazy fuck's liable to go after all of us. He's smart enough to figure it out. So I became dangerous. Now, if I did take that money, how could I come back to you and told you that I took money to shut my mouth from people that were killing you and killing your children and killing the future of this country? So in other words, all I had to do was say once, oh, now this is a nice story. Now, Kakavas with Walker. What did Kakavas do? He only arrested Jonathan Irish, prosecuted him. He was waiting sentences, that Nazi sack of shit. And you can Google it up. Jonathan Irish. Now, what did Jonathan Irish do? He came in with Aaron Day and Eileen Landy, said that he was a computer expert and that he was being prosecuted criminally by Kakavas. Kakavas gave him a deal, steal the computer, destroy that fucking evidence. I think we have a back page of that. That's
Well, we got Cavus. This is
Okay,
who Cavus is.
But he was protecting Jonathan Irish. Jonathan Irish was coming in as a victim and turning around saying, they set me up. They didn't set him up. He was an oath keeper. Right. They were there to steal the computer and set me up to be murdered. Who did it? Cavus. Who was he? The United States Attorney. The Department of Justice. Who did he work for? Andrew Lullen. Listen, we ain't out of the bathtub. It's that condensed. It's that connected. And it keeps going back to the Department of Justice. This is why this country's in trouble. This is why we're broke. Broke. All connected. And he immediately resigned after that. But he was the one that's also connected with Walker. It was all connected. And that Irish, and that's what they do. They take criminals. That's why some of your podcasters, like Script Keeper, they're fucking criminals. They leverage criminals. They don't teach pickpockets, right? They hire them. This guy's a fucking killer, Irish. And if you look afterwards, you Google him up, he's been arrested now multiple times for selling fucking machine guns. And up to the good guys. But he was there to steal that computer. You hear me seeing that computer? That's what he was there for. Those criminals. And that's what they do. Okay, hit it, D. Oh, there's our boy right after I caught his little tool resigning from the United States Department of Justice. Sudden resignation. Now, this is also a methodology. Once you catch them, disconnect. Remember I told you Walker had to resign and went to the hospital? Disconnect. Like Cavus immediately resigned. Disconnect. Hey, I caught those lawyers that working for me, Morris Mahoney, Alexander, and I'll remember. But they both resigned. Do you know who resigned too? The banking commissioner resigned. Oh, the Secretary of State he resigned. But that's it. Stop the contagion. That's why I told you contagion is so important. Remember those things. That's the methodology. Okay, hit it. Oh, who's also on the 50? Who was communicating with Brian Toomey? Bill Shaheen, the U.S. Attorney, connected to Hillary Clinton, which is why this isn't politics, folks. It's all of them. It's also the Department of Justice. You don't think the DOJ controls the Clintons? They could put them in jail. Of course they do. And who's in there? Bill Shaheen. Why does he want to pay me $50 million? Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Right. Because it is the Department of Justice. It is the blackmail and extortion. And who's also, you do the back page? We got Alex Walker and Bill Shaheen. All on the settlement, which is what did Aaron Day attack? The $50 million. It's signed, the whole thing. We can't say that. Remember I told you was the key? They don't pay you $50 for being wrong. They pay you $50. And who got that? Lullen got it. He owns it.
Right.
He knows. Okay.
So these are all names that are on the 50 million?
Yes. And there's more,
Right.
but there was Shaheen and
you got Alex Walker at the top here, the third one down.
Yeah.
But these were all fucking, and this has been shared many times, people.
Many times.
Mike's got all the names, but all these people were on the 50 million. And we've got explanations of who they are and how they relate on the right. And there's more. There's a ton of people on this. And it includes the IRS.
Bang. Right. And the Department of Revenue. What's the Department of Revenue? The taxation in the state. So do you know what it is? It's the banking commissioner too. And the banking department. Everything that audits. If you control what audits, that's how the laundering network works. They're auditing themselves, which is why no one gets arrested, because they also control that. But it's proof of who they are. It is the network of what launders. And it is connected to them all. Why did Maxwell go to New Hampshire? Because she knew that. She was leveraging her safety with their money. So again, we still haven't left the little circle of paths. Maxwell, Flynn, O'Keefe, the Pandora's box, to me. each and every one, which is a mathematical impossibility, which explains why all of a sudden Flynn's in the Oval Office on December 18th, enacting the insurrection. Go, wait a minute, I got a phone call I got to make. That's how, and that's why. Okay, hit it, D.
All right, everybody, pay close attention. This is where it's going to get really fucking crazy.
Oh,
Here we go.
see, I had to give you those pieces. Now you're going to hear some of the hard facts and dangerous stuff. Now, let me get this so I can blow this up a little bit.
I had never heard of Reed Cordish, and we were DMing a little bit. Mike was bringing me up to speed on this, but just I'll take this, the comments off. Screenshot this if you need to read it later and understand this a little bit more. And then once Mike pulls this up, he's going to really dig into this. You need to understand who who Reed Cordish is, especially, but the Cordish family in general. And I'm just starting to learn about them.
I'm going to tell you a little bit of a mafia story. The mafia they told you was gone. Was really organized crime that didn't leave. I'm trying to find my copy here.
No worries.
Now, what you're going to see here is Penn National. Remember, we told you about Penn National. We explained the connection of the money laundering, and in fact, they were in the Pandora's box.
Right, and they're the overseers of professional horse racing, correct?
They were the biggest operation in horse racing. So you're going to get a mafia story. I don't know why I can't find this.
I can read it if you want me to.
Okay. Oh, I just found it now.
Okay.
I know why I can't. All right, now ready. Now let's set this up a little bit. How long have I been telling you Penn National was part of this? You're going to see, again, a snippet, not more than a snippet, but of a deposition where Penn National wanted to pay me $25 million. And the people involved came from Mississippi. The whole thing. Ready? And when I called out Penn National, it was in 2009. Dead on. Laundering network. What did I say? Pittsburgh mob. Pittsburgh mob. Right. You don't believe in the mafia? Well, let's take a look at this. The Philadelphia mob. Angelo Bruno. Do you know who financed Las Vegas? He did. Through Jimmy Hoffa and the Teamsters. You watch The Irishman? Who smoked Jimmy Hoffa? Angelo Bruno, who then got shot in the head. Okay? They built Vegas. They were connected to Atlantic City. That's right, the mob. With the casinos. Because it's also part of the laundering network. When they turned around and moved slot machines into the small racetracks, they moved them in and it corrupted racing, but it was a laundering network. You know how Whitey Bulger gets snacked? Suffolk Downs. What was I in? World champion of horse racing? I mean, God has a funny way about putting me in the wrong spot. They got 19 indictments, Suffolk Downs, right? Winter Hill, 17 indicted conspirators, 2 unindicted conspirators. You know who the 2 were? Whitey Bulger and Steve Fleming. Maybe you've seen those movies too. Racetrack. It's casino gambling. Where did we have the wires going to that were going to show you Mafia alive and well? Suffolk fucking Downs. And strip joints the Mafia owned. So it is what built Vegas. And you don't think Trump knew about the Mafia? Google Roy Cohn. You know who it'll say? The mentor of Donald Trump. The same guy who represented the top mafiosos, including Gotti, was Cohn. You know what they controlled? Unions. The unions such as construction, cement, drywall. Cohn, mafia, from New York to Atlantic City. Now, who might have given me this? Through
Real
a
quick,
chin.
I got this. There you go.
Right.
Boom.
See, Donald Trump, mentor. Cohn was also, reminds me of a libertarian, reminds me of O'Keefe and Day. But my point being is, there's the connection too. No one's in short. of knowing who the mob was. And in 2009, I'm going out Penn National and calling them out. And think about this too. All right. Investors this is what I'm trying to tell you. If there's a separation going on and the DOJ's got to save himself, you know who's contagious? I gave them Penn National. They knew I'm driving Penn National in the cartel right up their ass. You know what they just gave me? Donald Trump with Penn National. What? So you want to know why Pandora's box didn't open? Do you know why Donald Trump's people came to me in 2015? Do you know why they offered to pay me off in 2015? To disconnect from Trump and that information with Penn National. Investigator took computers with my implication of the company's attempted defraud donations intended to support Republican candidate. CGG shares an address and law firm linked to another offshore company by the Cordish gambling family. Reed Cordish serves as an assistant to the president of Intergovernmental and Technology Incentives at the White House and reports directly to Jared Kushner. Jared fucking Kushner, who just got building an empire with Israel. Remember I told you about Penn National? Wires. What did I catch with Mafia Live and Well? Wires. Where are they coming from? Them. This asshole. I caught all of them. CT Technology, Cordish, all of it's connected. Now, the strategic campaign group is linked to Penn National Gaming. Holy shit. Which was a partner in Donald Trump's Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Do you remember that before? When I'm screaming Penn National, they're partners exactly at the same time in 2009? Trump's casino broke anti-money laundering rules 106 times in its first year of operation. $10 million fine. Anti-money laundering 106 times in their first year. Penn National. What were they doing? Money laundering. And when they sent me to Howley, Epoch Times, what did the CEO get busted for? Oh, that's right, money laundering. If Manafort is indicted and special counsel, Robert Mueller could be at the same time as involved in this criminal scheme. Oh, we got more for you. Remember Manafort? It's all connected. And I'll give you this. Turkey. And we're not talking Thanksgiving. Okay.
This is crazy.
Elizabeth de la Vega spent 21 years as a federal prosecutor, DOJ, including 4 years as part of the organized crime strike force. Organized crime. She believes Mueller will indict Trump. This is in 2015. Remember 15? A lot of things happened in 15. Them trying to pay me off with Penn National when they were using Penn National to leverage Trump and Manafort and Kushner. We got more. Just like they did with Jack Smith this last election. Remember? The DOJ. Same thing, but a deal. Which maybe the Russian hoax was a hoax on you. Let's keep going. She believes Mueller will indict Trump. Flynn is a little bastard. Manafort simultaneously removed the possibility of a pardon. Here as the practical and logistic matter. Trump has no way to pardon Flynn, Manafort, and Kushner. Others until they are indicted. Retweeted. It is most likely that Mueller will indict Trump, Flynn, Manafort, and simultaneously. At that point, Trump is out of luck, she says. There you go. Remember Jack Smith? Well, before then, we had Elizabeth Vega, the U.S. prosecutor. She was what Jack Smith was. Mueller was the director of the FBI. Who did Trump just try to indict? Comey, the director of the FBI. Why? Because the DOJ is opening the door to his ass. Who gave me this? How's that? Now, he's partners with Penn National, the Pittsburgh fucking mob. When this shit came out, remember, Steve Wynn resigned. But here we are. Now we know why it didn't open. Because Pandora Box included Penn National, which was partners what did I say? Building these casinos and racetracks? They were partners with Trump, with his own casino.
The Taj Mahal.
Which is also why that Homer is coming out. Because you're going to find out she was taking money. Now she's saying, I didn't hide it. Generously paid me. You see the pieces are falling into place? The DOJ is cutting all the paths. They just took out the Sinaloa cartel. You know why they're waiting on Anagos? For me. That's the secret word. I'm still in the way here. So if I wind up dead, I said no. Okay, hit it, Dave. On that cheerful note. Oh, there you go. That's right. The one we showed. That's Penn National. Ready? In Maine.
In Maine.
We didn't get New Hampshire. Anagos put a dozen up instead. They moved to Maine. And then the Chinese bought half of the fucking state that borders Canada, right? They took out the Sinaloa cartel. And listen, we called it before it happened. They didn't make it public. Bad guys don't like that. Right there. There it is, right? We told you. And what did I say? Change in management. There you go. Why change in management? Because the Sinaloa cartel and Anagos goes to the DOJ, the protection network. So if you're on the old protection, create a new customer. All right, hit it, Dave.
If you guys have not watched the last episodes that I've done with Mike, you gotta go and watch them and see what happened in real time, in the news. He called it. Mike called it as it was happening before it happened, and then we reported on it as it was moving to present day.
And it's not like they told me.
Right.
This is mathematical. It's how they have to move in the game. I knew they were contagious. How many times did you hear me say, I'm going to drive the cartel up the DOJ's ass? They go, not if we take them out. And look, major, I had the Coast Guard in Miami. I had the trucking companies in Houston. Franklin, New Hampshire. I mean, what are we talking? 3 of the biggest cities in the country and Franklin. Why Franklin? Because Franklin is the head witness in the state of New Hampshire. It's why Maxwell winds up, I don't know, she came from a smaller town than Franklin. That house was owned by an Obama cabinet member in an LLC that I already had. That's right. You get them all. You want to know if we can win? We can win. They were afraid you can win, or they wouldn't be sacrificing the moneymakers. All right, hit it, D.
Right. No matter what, people can't say that Mike Gill didn't tell you. No matter what happens, you will never be able to say that Mike Gill did not tell you the truth and tell you the path to victory.
And you, the people out there, can't say you didn't know. Not politics. They try to make it race and religion and all this, everything that divides you. You know, you're hearing the truth. This isn't a mathematical impossibility to be anything else. Trump's casino was deficient in anti-money laundering protections. Well, why would they catch themselves? All right, hit it, D. So in other words, this is news. This isn't anything. What year was that? 17. Okay, hit it.
2017.
I'm not sure what that one is, D.
This is the indictment of Paul Manafort, the guilty pleas of Michael Flynn and George Papadopoulos, and the indictments of Russian intelligence officers. This is all right around the Mueller investigation.
It's exactly the Mueller. It's exactly this Cruz. They all pled guilty. All right. Nobody was innocent. Let me see if I got this one here. So in other words, and again, 2015. Okay, I got that one. The indictment of Paul Manafort, the guilty pleas of Michael Flynn and George Papadopoulos, indictments of Russian intelligence officers. Oh, these are real beauties. Now remember, they're going after Trump, not these guys. Manafort was his campaign manager. You know who replaced him? My fucking contact, Lewandowski. You know who else was it? Roger fucking Stone. All right? Now you see what all these pieces are in place. Now, Manafort, what did he get done? Took issue with heightened importance because of the congressional Mueller investigation, Russian interference in 2016 presidential election. Remember now, who started that Russian hoax? Roger Stone did. Manafort did. Who went to jail? I mean, when Trump got elected? From the swamp.
Right.
Nobody. What if the Russian hoax was bullshit, but was created by the Department of Justice with Trump? And it gave Trump an excuse not to put anybody in jail. You hear him say drain the fucking swamp anymore? Who was behind the initiation of the Russian hoax? Stone and Manafort, right? Listen, it's deeper shit than you think. We're only dealing with the intelligence departments around the fucking world. And me.
Right. So the first term with Trump, they made it seem like Trump was fighting these guys and that he was up against the swamp and all that stuff. It seems like a complete psyop now that you fast forward all the way to second term where it doesn't seem like he gives a shit. Back then he was saying, I caught them all. They spied on my campaign. We caught them all. The best is yet to come. And now it's war, war, war. He's sending fucking long-range missiles over to NATO so they could just hand them to Ukraine. He's basically giving them to Ukraine, which Biden never even did. It's just a fucking slap in our face. They created this idea while at the same time, I think, leveraging Trump this whole time.
100%.
But now forcing him to play the game the way they want him to play the game as much as he wanted to probably go after these motherfuckers.
He didn't. He was tied into the mob before. But when they leveraged him at this point, they shut him down. That was it. Think about this. He didn't want to open the Epstein files either. You don't think they had the Epstein files on Trump then? They did. They owned him from the start.
And now he's saying it's part of the Russia hoax. He's saying that Russia is now Epstein Democrat-created hoax. It's crazy.
When you have some of the Democrats are saying, open it. And you know what? I ain't buying that bullshit either. That's the intelligence in this. Let's go on. Ready? Trump's campaign manager from June to August 16th was indicted of conspiracy, money laundering, tax fraud, failure to file reports of foreign financial assistance, serving as an unrestricted agent and making false misleading statements, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Manafort has been forced to resign his post with Trump campaign as an investigation by the Ukrainian government. Well, wait a minute. Who did I tell you I was finding? Fucking Ukrainians. Who I think tried to assassinate me in Miami was a fucking Ukrainian. I had 39 businesses connected to LLCs in New Hampshire from the Ukraine. This is before the Ukraine war. You understand? They were getting paid. Who else was in the Ukraine? Hunter Biden? Pelosi's son, Romney's son. That's how it's paid. And who's in the middle of this? Manafort. So let's see what else we got with Manafort. So in other words, so now you know Manafort was indicted. Here's another one. If hit the next one. Manafort sends to additional 43 months in prison. They're not innocent, but they were the leverage pieces. The Department of Justice opened it up to control Trump along with the Epstein files.
Right.
Okay, hit it. What do you got next?
Oh, this is where we get into Flynn. Turkish lobbying client complained about Trump's stance during campaign.
Oh, this our boy again, money laundering in Turkey. Now, what you're going to find out, you see Aaron Day and you see O'Keefe. Their sidekick is George Lambert. You're going to meet him shortly. You know what I found? Drugs through the Turkish Cultural Center moving in from Turkey. That's why you had guards, American soldiers guarding in Afghanistan. It involved Flynn, that piece of shit. You see? Again, it's connected. Okay, hit it. So, and you're going to see it's connected to my evidence. Flynn knew who I was in 15. When he reached out in December 18, 2020, he already knew who I was. Jury convicts Flynn, intelligence founder, conspiracy active, undisclosed agent. He cooked $15 million under the table. Manafort's not reporting him. They're tied to money laundering, foreign countries, the Ukraine, Turkey. That's who they are at the same time. All right, hit it. Well, let's bring in the party again. Who else was indicted? Right. Oh, I remember. let me see, Flynn pardon, Turkey investigation into Turkey. Let me see this. But you're also going to.
Yeah, it's following Flynn pardon, Wyden continues investigation into Turkey and Trump corruption.
Right. Did I give you the cut on the son-in-law?
Let's see what we got. Jared Kushner.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Kushner builds a Middle East business empire. He was indicted too. What did they do? His dad gets a pardon. Trump turns around and takes out Flynn gives him a pardon, right? Gives Manafort a pardon.
Stone got pardoned.
They all got pardoned, but they're all connected. The Department of Justice all had them all. They knew the truth. And the money laundering, it was the protection of the Department of Justice. But they leveraged them as they were going to leverage Trump on 2020 with Jack Smith. It is the methodology. What happened? He became president here and there was the deal. Nobody went to jail. Look with Maxwell. What happens with Maxwell? Let's see. But for me to get this evidence, it means they may have to give some of them up. But you're going to remember these names. Okay, hit it, D.
Let's take you back.
Okay, now what I've got to do is set this up. This was one of the lawyers working for Kerry Lemieux. His name is Ted Little. I caught him as a mole. That's why when you put me in with these podcasters, I kept catching them as moles. I had years of experience against much smarter. These people can stop your life in a heartbeat. Again, I won't move on this info until they are in the air. And yes, they are that bad where I have to do this. He's talking about his children, and his children are going to get murdered. Now, he's not a good guy. He was a mole. In fact,
remember, the woman on the right is Kerry Lemieux, right?
Right.
And so Ted Little is her attorney?
Little is working under her. Okay. So in other words, they all work for me. Okay, hit the next one.
Okay.
Now, this is Little, who also threatened to murder my son, which was giving this information also to Lowland and the Department of Justice.
There you go.
I know something you do not know that you should. Very, very valuable. Leverage. Lawyers use the word leverage. What if I can prove you were right about Pincus and Ray Pollock? What if I can show you legal docs about your divorce that you have never seen in files? I can show you pictures from rangering with Walker and your ex. So listen, Pincus and Pollock. Pincus was the lawyer that was supposed to sue Penn National. I was right. That was throwing cases against the jockeys. Pincus. Who was Ray Pollock? You know this shit. Oh, Mike Gill's killing him. It was the blood horse editor and reporter trying to blackball me. Remember I told you don't listen to people if you don't trust them or if you don't like them. Destroy the man, you destroy what he's saying. You were right, meaning also, this goes back to Pennsylvania. So the lawyer in New Hampshire saying I'm right about Pennsylvania. What was in Pennsylvania? Fucking Penn National. At the same time, they were partners with Donald Trump. At the same time, we called them out, and now they're in Maine doing the same thing, money laundering for the drug cartels. And who is doing the money laundering? The connection with organized crime and the mafia.
Right, and real quick, I wanted to show you guys. So, if you want to know more about these characters, this is Mike's website that Stacy and Mike are putting up. This has more information about some of these characters, but I did a video really breaking down the Marissa Pizzuto 44-page report. You can actually see that right here. But I wanted to point to this, and you will find the link to this down below this video on whatever platform you are on. It also links to their website. This is important information. You get some of these pictures that we've already shown, the evidence, and a lot of Mike's story. But if you want to know more about Ted Little and some of these players that we're talking about right now, go to that website and then check out what they got going on there, because it lays it out as well.
Remember, they're all witnesses. So, and I'll give the last one with Ted. wife Sarah to Lisa Tracy. Lisa T is Lisa Tracy, who was my controller, who they leveraged with her kids. Their lawyer, Jim, worked for Bill Shaheen. They were all leveraged. They're all criminals. What if I told you I'd give you pictures and files and docs they secretly have of you? What if I can tell you I have tapes of you that I could give you? Ready? They have your schedule. They have a mole in your business, as I can text. He worked for the mole. What if I could tell you who it is and prove to you? What if it's big? It was Toomey and Carrie Lemieux. He was leveraging and wanted to give me those. And again, he's afraid they're going to murder his children.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is you kept catching these moles, and then they'd send another one. It's crazy.
As Michelle Moore was. And listen, if something happens to me, just know this. That woman is evil. I mean, evil as any of them. All right, hit it, Dave.
All right, so this is when we get into a clip from Mafia Alive and Well.
Okay. Now remember, this stuff is evidence. This stuff is in 2015. What I'm telling you, I didn't know then that it was the DOJ. I was still trying to get him to the DOJ. So, but I want you to know what you're seeing here is evidence. And what that did was incriminate the network and the payoffs of politicians, judges. We were looking at it. Okay, hit it, D.
Look at Penn National. And at Cantor, remember that's the wire service. Now what you're seeing and what I'm looking at now, you see actual eBay accounts. And these eBay accounts called Light Body, you see that? I'll scroll down. You're looking at actual eBay accounts.
Hold on, D.
Except for
one of the witnesses that came to me, the whistleblower. She was married to a state trooper. He was the payoff guy. She got into his computer and gave me everything. So you're seeing actual payoffs of who was getting paid and how they were doing it. And it was all going through Penn National and the Mafia. Okay, go ahead, D.
There's no transactions coming out of them. You see those numbers to the right? That's the amount of transactions, except for nothing's coming out. You see? It's money transfers. It's bets. It's bribe. So they take through PayPal and they send it into these false eBay accounts. Now, Lightbody. All right, let's see who else we got. We got Wynn. I think he's got some explaining to do. Gavinari. Remember those names. Donacio.
Hold on, D.
Tapping through them.
D.
All right.
Could you show them the picture of Donacio, the cheese man, who just died about 5-6 days ago? So when I'm reading Donacio, just so you know who Donacio was, just the head of the Mafia, Costa Nostra of New England. If we're going to pop them, this might be a good idea to show you what I'm looking at. Mob boss, Carmen Donacio. You see? Okay, D. Just so you know, what I'm reading is who these assholes are. I didn't know who Donacio was then.
Yeah.
Donacio. Now, you know what I want you to do? These are all transactions. Okay. You see that King Arthur? Turns out that's a strip club.
Oh, yeah.
Up in Massachusetts. Then I'm going to have you look at an article. There you go. Wynn lied over Boston. Crime links. I want you to look at those names on there. The New England family Costa Nostra. Wow. Turns out that these guys own 3 strip clubs. Do you remember that one that said King Arthur's? Turns out they own that. Foxy Lady, Glass Slipper, they own those too. And it seems they've been using Cantor Gaming to place bets and transfer money into eBay accounts. Where I don't know. Let's take a look. You see Lightbody on there? I do. You see Donacio? Daganari? Right.
Now these were
Costa
booking
Nostra using Cantor Gaming and making bets. There it is. Now, let's keep going. Let's go through the article.
Ooh, I want to see that real quick. This was back when eBay was still a bigger thing, right?
Yeah.
So, if I can get that one spot. There we go. Wow. And you were calling this back. So this is October 2nd, 2014, what you're sharing here.
Yes.
And these are eBay accounts, and this is how they're money laundering. And I think you were saying in one of our previous episodes about these strip joints and stuff are like the only ones in those areas.
Right. And what happened? That's the only one in the state of New Hampshire is owned by Anagos. And what they did was they used to take bets, and they used the wire service. And then don't miss this, folks, right? It's the same wire service company that Trump's using, and through Penn. The money's bet offshore and it comes back clean. I mean, it's what's happening now. It's why Penn National's in Maine.
Yeah, but it always changes. So think about that. eBay was a lot bigger. I mean, it's still a thing, but it's kind of PayPal's grown. Now there's Venmo, but now you got the crypto aspects of things coming in, blockchain, new ways of money laundering. It's only changing, but Mike's been tracking this for 20 years now, going back. It's crazy.
It's evolved.
It just keeps evolving too. It's nuts.
Right.
Let's keep going. Let's go through the article. Now, look at these.
And these are tracking
accounts.
wires.
These are going to state troopers. And look at the account numbers up. Cantor, offshore, Singapore, huh? And there we go, Penn National. You got one too. Now, this is very interesting. You see this CG technology? See all the transactions down there? In fact, that one there in the bottom has got over 2,000. You know who those people are? They are state officials of Massachusetts and New Hampshire, state police, judges, senator. How do you like that?
No wonder
That's
why they
payoffs.
wanted me dead.
That's illegal betting and payoffs. See? All of them. Mob.com. You see this Seabiscuit? That's Suffolk Downs going through Cantor Gaming and making bets.
Hold on, D. Remember I told you they controlled the small racetracks like Suffolk Downs? Suffolk Downs was like Belmont next to Penn National, which was small. But when the casinos came in, that's what put it together. So in other words, they controlled it. So that wire service was going in the Suffolk Downs. Suffolk Downs was using Penn National's wire service to offshore bet, which was really fixed races, guaranteed winners, with your money back clean.
Is that why they called it Seabiscuit? Was Seabiscuit a really famous horse that won? Yes.
Yeah, there's a movie, Seabiscuit, right?
Right, with Tobey Maguire, I think, plays it. Tobey
That's
Maguire?
the one.
I think that's the one.
And do you know where he broke his maiden and where Seabiscuit started his career?
Suffolk
Downs.
Wow! This is nuts.
Oh, and there we got Penn National. Remember, private Penn Nation. They're using, look where they're going, Thailand, Germany. They're using fake eBay accounts to transfer money and pay politicians, law firms, bribe people. Their associates are the Costa Nostra. Who is Penn National? You think about that.
Penn
See how they're
National
opening up
is the
casinos?
mob.
What did the mob do? Own judges, politicians? What's happening right now? Isn't that who's blocking me? Corrupt judges and politicians that I told you and law firms? They're getting paid. Those were accounts were from Mass and New Hampshire getting paid through Penn National.
Steve Wynn. Hold on. Steve Wynn was buying the property from the mob. And guess what? After this, guess who resigned? Steve Wynn. And what was he tied to? Penn National, was part owner of Wynn Casino. And Penn National was owned part of Taj Mahal and Trump at the same time, which is part of why Steve Wynn resigned.
So so technically none of these assholes got put in jail. However, you scared the fuck out of a lot of these people, and they ended up having to shuffle, didn't want to be as involved as maybe they were before you started exposing this. And these are motherfucking mobsters. Scared of Mike Gill.
And you're going to see how this ends. It made me aware. And just recently, why did the determination was to kill me at that point? Take the money or kill me. But it was then, not before as much, but right. Then. Now I get it. It was those wires. It was the connection. It was also a connection to Trump. All right, D.
Wow.
Who wanted me to be a business partner.
Well, and these are the variations.
And yeah, Trump wanted you to be a business partner with him, right?
In the racing business. Right.
What year was that he reached out to you?
5.
Fucking crazy.
And you know what he did? He sent his personal plane to New Hampshire to pick me up. The ex-wife, a friend, and his wife flew me to the Taj Mahal to make a deal. Then flew me to Jacksonville, Florida, with a 50-yard line seat for the Super Bowl when the Eagles played the Patriots. Right. So there's no denying that either.
Oh my gosh, man. And then he got popped for a bunch of money laundering, which he paid a $10 million fine for. And 10 million doesn't sound like a lot considering how much they probably laundered.
It's pennies.
Loan shark.
Yeah, it's just it's like the price of doing money laundering, right?
Right.
Loan shark free, cash cow. Boy, you gotta say, you guys are creative. And this one I took particular interest in. Pollock. This couldn't be Ray Pollock, could it? Because I got one with 918 transactions.
It could.
Right. Illegal gambling. So
and that's who Ted Little brought up, right?
Exactly.
That's how they do it. PayPal, money transfer to eBay.
And right? I was right.
Using Cantor Gaming's wire service that got closed down last year, which I question how could Penn National get a license in Massachusetts, knowing that they ran an illegal wire service. In fact, I remember reading, did the Gambinos own part of that? Wow.
They did.
Right.
How about this? Anagos' brother was an associate of the New York Gambino family. His nickname was the fucking Maestro. And if you remember the witness inside the cartel that was saying that Dick were running a pipeline through New York, it was the Gambinos. And listen, the Maestro, you can Google and see it for yourself. He's dead now.
To even say these names on a video like this, I would be shitting myself, Mike. I can't. Oh man.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you the secret. Assume you're already dead.
Yep.
That's what you do. And when they take everything you could be leveraged with away, you're a weapon, a dangerous weapon.
Whew.
So here's proof that they're betting illegally. And Brown, didn't he own bars? They bet through those bars. Just like these guys use the strip joints up here to bet through. Can you say bookies? Right.
Hold on, D.
So when
Steve Shealy was the biggest bookie in Pennsylvania. He gets busted. He calls me up. He goes, "You're the reason I get busted." And you know I didn't take a dime from betting it on a horse race. I go, "Of course not." But to cover it up. You hear what he said, Brown? Ronnie Brown, who was the connection with the DOJ. Behe, U.S. attorney. The FBI agent, Bruce DuPay. He owned a restaurant called the Firehouse. You know what was next to? The fucking courthouse. Judges were coming in there. The ex-governor was coming in betting in there, offshore. just like they were doing to the strip joints and so forth. They were doing it all in Pennsylvania. So when he turns around and said, Pollock, it was all connected. So think about it. Pennsylvania to the same network in New Hampshire, which is the Pandora's box, which is national, international. Okay.
Yeah, man. It's a national state of corruption. Fucking nuts.
I told you those years ago that they were holding my horses. You understand why? They couldn't have an honest guy in a race. Not when they're making these kind of bets. These races were fixed. And that's what I was catching. And this is what it's come down to. I'm going to show you here. There's over 200,000 transactions. You know what? There's state workers, probation, trial judges, prosecutors, attorneys, construction companies, bookmakers, state troopers. In fact, the state trooper has their own account. Troopers Cantor Offshore Gaming 1-GDOC.
This is why there's no justice. You're pointing out how they pay off every single fucking person they have to pay off to continue doing their crime.
Exactly. And all under the protection of the Department of Justice, or somebody would go to jail. Now, let's do the math, folks. Nobody goes to jail, ever. Who puts them in jail? The Department of Justice. Who are they paying off? Department of Justice.
It's fucking crazy.
That's the payoffs. What I'm going to do is give all this information to the FBI, Internal Affairs in Washington. Because you've got some work to do. Don't forget the state's attorney, Kakavas. You know, Rockingham's going to want a casino.
Oh, they
Who do you
did.
think they're bribing up here? You think Bill Sheen ain't going to get paid? Right, Gene? Right. What's the bet? You see that Mass New Hampshire account? It doesn't go back to there. All we got to find out is who owned the eBay accounts. And then you find out all the criminals. Just happens to be judges, senators, law firms. You have seen me exercise my right to free speech. Well, I'm home all alone. You've broken into my house many times. Except for I'm also going to exercise my right to bear arms. So you're welcome to come by. Just one of us isn't leaving. Thank you.
See, that was important because that was the beginning of physical threats. They were coming to my house. I had to move my children out. And trust me, when I invited them, I wanted them to come. I swear to God. At that point, listen, they control by fear. You know what they can't put together, what they don't understand? Courage. So if you don't have fear, they go, what the fuck is with this guy? You're damn right. I was hoping for a shootout. But it also, when I seen this, it took me back. It was the starting point. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm taking you back and now. So that happened. So what happened after that? We get reintroduced. Right after that podcast was Married to the Mob. They brought in Shannon Donnelly. They brought in what appeared to be a victim. They brought in to be a paralegal. And they brought in Penn National. You know what Penn National goes? Hey, listen, boys, you're fucking this up. You're not stopping him. He's calling us all out. He's getting our service. He got poor Steve Wynn resign. But that's when it got dangerous. Now I know more. Why? So in other words, this will take us into, I believe, Married to the Mob. Now remember now, I'm going to set this up briefly because this goes on. Listen, we're only watching history, boys and girls. She was sent by the mob, right? She was coming in to pay me off. And you're going to see Biden was in the room. You know who's doing the camera right now? Carrie Lemieux. Remember? We met her. And Barrington, who offered me $50 million thereafter. They're in the room.
Right. Carrie Lemieux on the right.
but it was their last chance to try for me to take the money. 13, I told you no. That was the settlement offers. That was the list that you saw. And then in 14, they did. In 15, Penn National goes, listen, he's on us now. He's on the wires. And Trump's running for president right now. And you know what I'm doing? Giving him this evidence. Lewandowski, his campaign manager. Okay, hit it, D.
Well, I had contacted you when I saw your
sworn deposition. This is evidence.
in Manchester, and I contacted you probably like a month or two, and I was, just confiding in with you directly on the phone about some of the things that I had experienced and endured myself personally within the divorce realm and dealing with different attorneys and all kinds of things. So, and that was the last of, our conversation. I wanted to meet with you and talk to you, but that never came to, be. Didn't hear from you again. And then I had been filling out positions on Monster, on New Hampshire, Craigslist, on, what's the other one I can't remember, Indeed.com, things of that nature to get a higher paying job in the paralegal realm.
Right, so
And then I think Carrie had called me.
So-
Sorry, you asked.
coincidentally enough, you called me because you were having issues with the courts and troubles.
Yes.
So you called me as an advocate, didn't you?
Yes,
And I did take your call, and didn't I?
you did when we spoke.
And we spoke. Now, the next time I heard of you, you were employed in my company, weren't you?
I guess
What do you
Carrie
mean?
called, I was employed, I was accepted the position.
Well, you don't have to guess that. So you were employed in our company.
Yes, most
So do
certainly.
you find it coincidental that we have a communication and you approach me as a victim, correct?
I did, yeah.
You
I
did.
approached you as a victim.
Right. And I took your call and I tried to help you. The next thing,
Well,
The
didn't try to
next
help me,
thing-
but okay.
the next thing is you're employed by my company working as a paralegal.
And I was very excited.
Harry Lemieux hired.
Did you ever tell me you were a paralegal on the phone when you were a victim?
I don't believe I did at that time. We were talking about the divorce arena.
I don't
She
believe you did either. So surprise.
So this was hired by this chick on the right.
You got it.
So just so people start putting these pieces together, understand these moles that were working in Mike's organization, Carrie Lemieux on the right hired this woman who was married to the fucking mob.
Right. And was bringing in Penn National to pay me off. Who's married. So understand, remember Ted Little? I can give you the mole. It was those assholes. And that was just before. Now remember, Mafia Alive and Well followed this up immediately. In fact, you'll hear what happened when I was doing the video of Married to the Mob. It was by a look in her face passing by my desk and got her. Just so you know who I am. Okay, go ahead.
To me, you were a paralegal, and you leave your job, see if we got this right, the same department now, working for the state, you're right back working for the state.
As a
New
child
Hampshire.
service worker.
Right.
Yes.
In the mob.
So, what do you think the coincidence is that we happen to meet on the phone, you calling me as a victim, and then unwittingly, you don't even mention you're a paralegal to me, and now you're working at Mortgage Specialist. Would you call that a coincidence?
No, I wouldn't. It wasn't on top.
Zero chance.
It wasn't on topic. Well, let me see. You called me regarding corruption that you believe is going on in your case.
My experiences, yes.
What would you say when you called me as a victim, what were you the victim of?
Divorce, corruption, all kinds of crazy things that I've experienced firsthand.
Firsthand, you've experienced them. So
Oh,
you're
yeah.
a witness to this. So you're a witness to the corruption in the court?
I definitely say that there's a lot of corruption going on here in this state. And that's
Right.
why I called you, because I was excited about the fact that somebody was coming out saying it.
Right. So you had a situation in the court at the time.
I still do.
Right.
Many.
There's the first part that you wanted to show of this video. We have 2 more clips from this, Mike, but I don't know if you wanted to
Yes, just
segue
keep
into
going
them.
with them. What I did was I shortened the whole thing, but let's continue on.
Then we get to this part here.
We stopped
she-
having the victims group, and I made
Go ahead.
So she worked for the state. You're going to find out she was married to one of the heads of the cartel and how I caught her. And she only represented Penn National. So if you do the numbers, there's a scene in Casino. I don't know how many people watch Casino. Do you remember how De Niro goes to the guy and goes, hey, listen, the guy got a jackpot. And then he got a jackpot again. He goes, you know the odds of it happening twice? It can't happen. There it is. And just so you know, a tie-in, she called me as a victim. You know, they have a, what would you call it? An understanding about me. He's a sucker for a victim. Michelle Moore, she got fired from PPN. Oh, and then all of a sudden I started doing her show and helping her. See, the same fucking routine. Okay, go ahead, D.
You got to stop falling for it, Mike.
I
very
know.
clear, is that I believed that we had a spy that was giving this information out.
I don't recall that that's why you stopped victims groups.
That's exactly why.
Answer your own question, okay.
Right. I'm suggesting you were the spy.
Okay,
Wow.
I just
That's
think
funny.
it's
Let's
funny.
keep going on.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Keep laughing.
but you do admit there's corruption in the court,
I absolutely know there is.
and there's corruption with the lawyers, right?
Yep.
So we're on the same page there, right?
Yeah, but I'm a spy, right?
You are.
Well, let me finish the rest. I'll explain it to you. No, you're just very coincidental so far.
I know.
Person on the phone who doesn't identify themselves, and why I'm working as a paralegal.
Okay.
Let's go on. What is your maiden name? I'm sorry, not your maiden name. What was your married name?
It was Vessels.
Could you spell that?
Vessels.
Say it again.
V as in Victor.
Thank you.
SS as in Sam. ELS.
E.
Hold on, we got to look at this.
Hold on for a minute. Remember I told you I had Vessel and one of the heads of the mafia that was taking the wire transfers. Just so Mrs. Vessel walked by the desk and saw the name. I saw her look and she walked, and she's a sneaky bitch. And she walked by, I go, I got your ass. And I'm going to have her sign something that I introduce. But if you want to know who she is, and if it's because of the mob and it ties to Penn National, Vessel. Okay.
And this is the time that he got? What is this?
It's the wire. It was
So these are the wire transfers that are in his name.
yes.
One's in West Virginia, United States, and the other's in California. Interesting.
You know what's in West Virginia? Penn National in Charlestown, which is why West Virginia is one of the worst addicted states in the country, right next to New Hampshire.
Yeah, I got a lot of my dad's side of the family over there, and there's a lot of problems with addiction in my family. But
And it
younger
starts there.
generations. It's very sad. It pisses me off.
L.
LS.
That's what I thought. Wanted to make sure. Okay. So, when you came in, were one of your responsibilities to hire attorneys, find attorneys for me to interview and talk to?
Oh, we had suggested that, and you said you thought it was a good idea.
So, we did put you in working with the ads to get an attorney for a RICO case, didn't we?
I sought finding
Organized
attorneys.
crime.
That was my idea, for you to find somebody outside. We had discussed it verbally, and I said, you need to find somebody outside of this area, and we can expose all of this.
So, I asked you a question. Did you handle resumes for and collect them and advertising for hiring a RICO attorney?
No,
Well, then how is it that I have multiple emails with you and attorneys doing just that?
Because I was seeking people outside of the New England area.
She said no.
To bring this to light. Remember I found the people from Mississippi?
Oh, I remember. But the question is, I just asked you if you were involved in hiring the attorneys. You're not answering the questions
I
directly.
wasn't. Carrie was involved with that. Carrie
Hold on.
always had control over everything.
You're going to hear her mention Carrie. Carrie Lemieux. Carrie
Lemieux.
doing the videotape. Carrie, who right after this tried to get me smoked. Okay? So in other words, there it is. You're going to hear her say Carrie a few times. All right? And listen.
And you can go ahead. Sorry.
And why she was handling this, I didn't put her in it. Carrie did, because they knew that Penn National and remember the Mississippi? Oh, I remember, dear. That was Penn National. So in other words, she was there to deliver Penn National. Set up, don't bring in anybody else, set up all the cases. That's why that Ted Little was saying Lisa T. She was doing the same thing. That's why she was saying the mole. They were controlling on who and what I talked to.
And she was acting all tough, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the spy." And then you started nailing her with this stuff.
Right.
Oh man, this is so good.
This is why I would love to depose Flynn, this stone. You think those assholes will be in a room with me?
Right.
Dude.
This would be great.
Everything.
Well,
I was the aftermath.
you were the aftermath. Well, I have multiple emails from you and other attorneys.
Okay? It was probably because I was looking for people outside.
Oh, so you were. Right. And that's what I said you were doing. You were the
New England.
person hiring the attorneys.
You
In
had,
fact,
I'm sorry, I just want to say, you had various different things going on for attorneys to work for MSI and then for other ones for the RICO.
right. Now,
Mortgage
what we
special.
did was, it wasn't your idea for us.
MSI is Mortgage Specialist
Incorporated.
Incorporated. That was your company.
To hire an attorney. We've had about 20 of them before you were here. So you didn't come with that idea. But you did file advertisements and got attorneys to call you and want to work with us. In fact, you would go to these attorneys and tell them the size and the complaints of the RICO, wouldn't you?
When I was looking for the RICO attorneys outside of New England, I was definitely calling attorneys and asking them to, consider. I was kind of trying to feel them out, like if they were saying like, oh, well, we're gonna have to charge you this amount. I'm like, yeah, no. I was trying to find
So
somebody.
you were
who
looking
was-
out for us.
I was.
Could you read that email?
Yep. It says, Dear Attorney Rhodey, this case is against several high-profile law firms and lawyers in the state of New Hampshire, Mass. The owner of the company Mortgage Specialist, Inc. has evidence to support the corruptions that transpired among attorneys/firms against the owner, Mike Gill, and the MSI. This all started and stems from a very high-profile divorce. This case is voluminous. The ties are exhausting, to say the least, but true. Mike Gill and the MSI lost well over tens of millions and millions from the RICO activity. If you are interested and want to discuss, please let me know. Thank you, Shannon Donnelly.
So that's
The
from you,
offer
right?
for attorneys
It
was
says it
$10
is.
million.
I don't recall writing
No
it, but
answer.
If it is, then
That is
it
your name though, right?
That is my name, yeah.
Right, and that's what I said your job was, one of them, was to reach out to these people, just like you did here, right? Reach out and talk to them, just like you did and what you read here.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Stop a second, Dorothy.
Fuck.
No, I'm not putting it in.
Okay.
You can't refer, under the rules of deposition, the document.
Hold on now. Hold on. This is important. That's Barrington, one of the guy who offered the $50 million. You're going to meet him in a minute again. He was trying to get the name of my witness. You're going to hear me tell him basically to shut the hell up. And Carrie Lemieux was doing the recording. Listen, so the lawyer, I'm doing the deposition. I already know the asshole's in the bag.
Right.
I mean, that's how I have to work. Go ahead.
Crazy. Who's this lady?
She's a stenographer.
Okay.
I don't know her. She's doing, this is a sworn deposition. So she's typing and recording it for court documentation. So when I say what you hear here is evidence to be used in court.
Right. Wow.
I don't believe it does. Okay. There's sensitive issues here, and people's lives are at risk. And I believe you're trying to collect that information. So, you did look, like I said, put ads in, right? You were unsure of
Well,
that.
they're not ads.
Well, why don't you read this then? Would you read, is that your email?
Yes, it says it. I mean, I have no idea.
But it does say your name.
It does say my name.
And you were doing that kind of work, weren't you?
I was looking for
Oh.
RICO attorneys, yes.
Okay. So
Here's
did
the
you read
point.
that?
I'm sorry again, but hold on to
Mitch would like
this.
to run an ad in the National.
What you have to understand was she wasn't doing any depositions. She wasn't bringing any lawyers. Only one. Hiram Eastman from Mississippi, where Penn National have 5 casinos. It was only them. So she had everything blocked. She was denying everything, but delivering one. And it was Penn National itself. So that's an important factor. And remember, she was married to the mob. You see? Who was sending him? The mob. You know why? Be the Department of Justice going, these boys can't get the job done. He's threatening to shoot us. Go ahead.
National Journal for a RICO attorney. Please provide me with the cost for this and any information regarding the regions that will be covered. Thank you.
Okay. So we have determined that that was part of your job. Now,
Okay.
Okay.
you mentioned the Mississippi people.
Oh, this
What was
bitch.
his name?
Don't recall.
This
You
is
don't
good.
recall?
I know it was a family.
A family.
Yeah, a family attorney.
A family from Mississippi.
A family law firm.
A family law firm
Yeah.
from Mississippi. Right. Hiram ring a bell?
Yes, actually.
It does.
Yeah. I couldn't recall the name. It's been over a year.
Couldn't recall the name. Hiram Eastman, right?
Yeah, that sounds
Sounds
correct.
familiar? Do you remember those conversations you had with him?
Some, yeah.
What were they?
Basically, we were talking about we needed an attorney or firm who would help us out because that there was a lot of corruption and things of that nature, and that I thought that you were a victim, and I wanted somebody outside the area to support you and our cause.
Okay, you said that. Now, you forgot his name, but you remember every
Yeah.
word he said to him.
Well, I just remembered when
But-
you said it.
So you just told me who he was, but you didn't tell me the conversations. Would you tell me what kind of conversations did you have?
Again, like I said, it's over a year ago. From what I can remember, it was basically trying to tell him about what had happened to you in MSI during the
Right.
how many years, I don't remember. There was a lot of information, and he would say, ask information about different cases, and Carrie and I would send him information like names because they could look up certain
Right.
cases and stuff. And then we gave him like a whatever it's called, chronology of the
You
different.
gave him all that?
Well, Carrie and I did.
Okay. But
Karen.
you don't remember speaking to him about who we were suing?
About who you were suing.
What were the issues? You told him about
I'm
the issues.
sure it came up eventually
Right.
because he wanted to know like everything to see if he could handle the case and that there was merit to it.
Then, so we were hiring him to represent us.
Well, we hadn't established that.
Oh. Well, we weren't in discussions to have him represent us?
It was left up to you, and
Well-
I never even, got to that point. I mean, we just wanted him to come on board. That was pretty much part of it.
So we never really had those
You might have,
involved.
because I wasn't involved with a lot of the
Well-
conversations you had in private with him.
Private.
Yeah.
All right,
I
well-
took some calls with him.
Let's, so on our cases, your function, you took over for Linda, right? Your principal function was to do depositions, to get notices out there, right?
No, that's not what I was told from my superior. Did I help doing that? Yes, I took direction from Carrie specifically every day.
Well, here's some directions that he gave you.
Who
Hey.
gave me?
Well, it says Carrie right here. Hey, Shannon, immediately after, we want you on depositions. would you list the depositions that I wanted you on from top to bottom, please? Could you read their names?
You want me to read the whole email?
No, just read all the names that you were supposed to do the depositions on. Could you read those names? Out loud, please.
Yep, hold on. Okay, in Hyder, it says Alex Walker, Larry Schwartz, Lisa Tracy, Paul Russell. In Morrison, Marissa Puzutsu or something, Darla Sedgwick, Bob Jutras,
Marissa Pizzuto, who wrote the 44-page document.
And if you notice, those names are on the $50 million settlement that I didn't take. And why this is important was she never sent out the notices. She didn't put out the ads for any lawyers. What it was funneling in Penn National. So in other words, these are important parts of what was done. So those names, remember Alex Walker who ran this and all? They were all part of that.
And you have those documented, so we'll skip ahead a little bit, past where she's reading the names to the next part.
Yeah, see if you can go a little further. Okay, go ahead.
Right here's where we had it.
With the law firms, did we know who the insurers were?
Did you know who the insurers were for who?
For we had multiple lawsuits, right, that you were working on.
I wouldn't say I was working on all of them. I took direction from Carrie the first 3 weeks. Nothing was going on. And I was trying to get direction.
Will you try to answer the question, please?
Sure.
The question is, did you know of the insurers? How many insurers were we suing? Who the insurers was?
I can't recall. I don't know.
You don't even remember? You don't remember one insurer?
I remember the name of one that Carrie had said to me was huge, was Liberty. She said Liberty Mutual.
Liberty Mutual?
Hold on.
That's funny. We really didn't know about Liberty Mutual until recently.
I didn't tell them Liberty Mutual. She didn't know. You know how she knew Liberty Mutual? Because Penn National told her. And you're going to find out that Penn National was the settlement, $25 million. It would have got off Shaheen and Walker and the laundering network, and it would have tied into the same $50 million that they wanted to pay me, but split it. Okay, go ahead.
Damn.
But you did.
That's what Carrie told me.
Really? Well, when you were talking to Hiram, did he talk to you about Penn National?
Yeah, we talked about Penn National.
Wasn't suing them.
That's what I was telling him when we were in conversation about you believed the systemic thing, like whatever you want to call it, RICO, whatever.
Money
correlated
laundering.
To something with Penn National.
Well, you just didn't remember what you said to him.
There's pieces that I do remember.
Well, I just asked you what you remembered. You didn't remember anything, so now you remembered Hiram.
Well, you jogged my memory, and thank you for that.
Great, you're welcome. I'm hoping it exercised a little further. So we have an email from Hiram suggesting we have a global settlement with Liberty Mutual and Penn National. So you did have that conversation. The email went to you now, didn't it?
Could have.
Right. So what? I wasn't even suing Penn National. Right.
You were bringing up a lot of things about Penn National constantly.
Was I suing Penn National?
I don't think you were ever suing Penn National.
No, I wasn't. But he knew Penn National, and he knew Liberty, as you did, Mutual.
Because he got the information from your websites. You told him to go on and look at the websites.
We never knew Liberty Mutual. Liberty.
I'm not talking about Liberty Mutual.
Well,
I
I'm
was
saying
talking about Penn National.
You had those conversations with Hiram Eastman of Mississippi.
Right.
Right? Regarding a global settlement with Penn National, right? And Liberty Mutual.
Okay, I don't recall Liberty Mutual. I remember having conversations about trying to inform him with as much information about the chronology that was, provided to me.
We were not suing Penn
National. A lot of
National.
chronology.
We were
It
exposing
was an
them.
extensive chronology.
And you forgot that too.
I don't recall the chronology.
Exactly.
I gave it to him.
So
I don't recall.
now we've got you talking to the lawyers. You've got released this information to Hiram. Hiram understands the saying we're going to have a global settlement with Penn National when I didn't file a lawsuit, and Liberty Mutual, which I didn't know was involved. but the email went to you. Now, what happened with Hiram?
You said that he was working with, I forget who it was, began with an M, some law firm with an M. You said, oh, he's working with them, and I'm like, he's in Mississippi. There's no way these guys can be a part of it.
There's 5
And
casinos
you had
by
said
Penn
that they
National
weren't,
in Mississippi.
and that it was all like some scam or whatever, and I was like, are you kidding? Like, because I didn't get that from them.
I didn't call it a scam. I said he was a spy. And does Penn National have a casino in Mississippi? Yes, they do.
I know.
Well, now you know. And I accused Hiram of a spy. Do you know that Hiram never called back, right?
I don't know that.
Well, that's true. We have no emails or new communications thereafter. I told you Hiram was a spy, and Hiram, who was contacting you nearly daily through...
I don't recall him contacting me daily. I recall trying to get help for us.
Oh, so 8/28, 9/2, again at 9/2, 9/3, 9/4, 9/11, 9/11, 9/12. So there was quite a bit of contact between you and him, and it infers Liberty Mutual and Penn National. So,
Okay.
do you believe in the mafia?
Do I? Yes,
You do.
I do.
Most people don't. Would you say
I
that?
wish I were that ignorant.
Right, because you know it is true now, isn't it?
There's lots of different kinds of mafias.
Well, you know, the ones they call the Costa Nostra.
Oh, I don't know stuff like that. I'm saying I think that there's how one wants to define mafia.
Oh.
You know, the TV Sopranos, you want to call it that, or how should I say, other kinds of mafias.
I call it organized crime.
That's
Okay?
yes.
So you believe in organized crime.
I do,
Is there a reason why you believe in it?
because I've experienced firsthand a lot of corruptions, and I couldn't believe the experiences that I've been exposed to in the last 5 years while being a citizen of the state of New Hampshire.
Wow. Was your husband in the mafia?
Not that I know that he was in the mafia, but he did. When I was going through my divorce, I hired a PI to find out about the sale of the business. And I found out through a PI that he sold, allegedly, his business to an alleged mafia person in Massachusetts.
Well, you wrote us this letter, didn't you? That
The day
said
I was
that.
fired, yes. with
Right.
a-
I
Right.
fired you.
Yes.
Do you remember when I fired you what we were doing?
What we were doing the day you fired me.
We were
Who's
working
we?
on a video, remember? Mafia Live and Well.
Okay.
You do remember that?
I don't remember you telling me
Oh,
that.
but you believe in the Mafia,
I do.
and I was doing the video at the time.
Okay.
Mafia Live and Well. Do you remember why I was doing that video?
No, you did a lot of videos.
Yeah, but Mafia Live and Well? I mean, that's
You
kind
have
of
a lot of videos. I don't know why you
Oh.
do half of the things you do.
Vessel.
So you believe in organized
I
crime.
do.
So you know that I was an advocate. You called me because I was an advocate, someone that would help. So why wouldn't I do that here? All right. So when we were doing this video, Mafia Live and Well, do you remember I was getting information from different victims? And I was putting these pieces together in different victims. You were there the whole time.
I
Oh, so you don't remember that.
recall
Okay.
what you're talking about.
So you
exactly.
remember, I'm saying is that we found wire transfers from Cantor Gaming, Penn National, that went into Wynn Casino, that went into a few different names, a gentleman named Donacio.
Now Penn
That's what you
National
said,
wants
yes.
to pay
And I
me.
remember meeting one,
And wait, and she's playing dumb because she doesn't remember Mafia Live and Well. But let's just refresh
That
everybody
we
here.
only saw her husband's name in there. And then right after that,
This is where you bring the fucking gun, and then this is where you fucking bring the gun up.
Except for I'm also going to exercise my right to bear arms. So you're welcome to come by. Just one of us isn't leaving.
How does she not remember that video?
Oh, she remembers it. She saw her husband. That's Vessel. That was on the wire transfers. So she saw the ex-husband there, which is why she believes that such thing as the mafia. She was married to the mob.
And she doesn't remember the one where you invited them over to your house for a gunfight.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Woman at that one meeting that I went to.
Don't mention her name.
No, I'm not going to.
Good.
But
So-
that's where she had said
She was married
that.
to a state trooper, right, and took
I
this
remember her.
information out of the computer.
That's what she said,
right.
yes.
And that information was wire transfers. Wire transfers from Penn National, CD Technology, into these individuals.
Okay.
Why don't you take a look at these individuals? Can you read their name? The best you can.
Where am I looking, Mike?
You see right here, these transfers.
Okay. You want me to read them down or?
Yeah,
Light Body, 12, 10 years, 1 month, MI, United States. Wynn Resort, 6 years, 9 months, United Kingdom. Steve Wynn, 15 years, 4 months, Ohio, United States.
Now
And
you
then
know why
Steve
he
Wynn again,
resigned.
44, 7 years, 11 months, United Kingdom.
just read the names, please.
Oh, okay. Steve Owen, Steve Wynn, Gaderneri, Ginger,
Dalinari.
Denzuzio.
Ignacio?
Oh, okay.
You remember Dinasio, the cheese man?
And then there's another one that's D-I instead of the E, Dinuzio. J, Denuzio. Light.
Hold on. We got Denuzio here.
Yeah. That's Denuzio. Denazio. The cheese man. You know who her husband's in? The pizza business.
Pizza needs the cheese, man.
Light body 0, light BDE, light body 02.
You know what?
Light
We're
body
okay
21,
here
and
now.
Light body
B.
85.
All right, we're good on that one.
Right. But I want you to
Okay.
understand. She saw me doing Mafia Live and Well. She knew I was doing the wires. I caught her eyeball because she saw the ex-husband name on it, Vessel. Who sent her was Penn National, which is Hiram Eastman, the 5 casinos in Mississippi. She was blocking all investigation and working with Kerry Lemieux. Kerry told me. Now, this is what happened right after. So now I'm going to show you now who was in that room. Barrington, who was taking $50 million settlement offers and knew it. So I want you to see. Now, from here, I fire Barrington. I turn around and meet Barrington in courtroom. Right, just outside. This is just outside the courtroom. But hit it.
It's
Now
just a
remember,
short-
Barrington was part of this. Okay, so we're doing this in order as it happened. Mafia and Live and Well got me into Married to the Mob, and $25 million from Penn National, who's partners with Donald fucking Trump, in exactly this time with the same wiring people as he's being charged with money laundering. So is Steve Wynn. Okay, this is Barrington.
And this is The Path of the Righteous Man on State of Corruption, New Hampshire on YouTube. But this
Nothing
is that
gets you killed
motherfucker.
faster.
Is an asshole. You were a big hit on our last one. You notice you didn't mention to the judge how much money we turned down. And you were protecting these criminals. Isn't that right, Barrington? Huh?
And then that cuts into what you
Right.
caught on the recording. And then we moved to...
Exactly. So in other words, is there another cut on that same?
Yes.
Right? All right, hit the
We're-
second cut.
Yep.
You know
6
what? I
minutes
gave you a
and 20
bonus feature here. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, this is him again, right?
We repeated the process again. Another bang. This son of a bitch would leave the. How about this? The cartel had armed guards. The judge would keep me in the courtroom so the cartel could leave. So in other words, this is what I was trying to tell you. They can't handle courage. If what they do is controlled by fear, by having no fear, you see the cowards that they are. Okay.
And they used to announce when you were in the court, right?
100%. I'd go in
When
the
Mike
courtroom,
Gill...
they would go, Mike Gill is in the house. and I would have judges start cases in the middle. The whole Rockingham courthouse.
Here he is again for round 2.
Yeah.
See him? How about all those millions? You want to tell everybody how corrupt we run? You were talking to Jim Wheat. Did you know that we got this?
Wheat was Walker's attorney. Another 50 mil.
Wheat was Alex Walker's attorney?
Right, who offered again 50 million and said, and you've seen it post emails, remember? The lion's share was Walker and Divine Millimat. That was Weeks. Go ahead.
Brentwood Court, it had all the people you were working.
Can I have an escort to my vehicle?
Yeah, he's the criminal. Go ahead, now the next.
Listen to this guy's weaselly ass little voice. He's the perfect fucking scumbag attorney.
Escort to his vehicle.
I'm not kidding.
I'm not kidding
I am in
either.
fear of this lunatic.
He took an offer for $50 million. You guys know who I am, right? That's the guy who offered $50 million to shut my mouth, was running with Bill Shaheen, protecting him, right there. All right. And listen, I don't touch anybody. I just uncover them. Put them in jail. All right, is that your bill?
All right. But understand this. This was the guy that was a week or two before we're in the settlement that I rejected Penn National. Again, who we weren't suing. This guy turned around and in court, he will not say, hey, they didn't offer you $50 million. What are you talking about? You didn't hear that, did you? Well, the next road trip, and in this understanding of the progression, from there, Carrie Lemieux sends me to Miami to meet at the Ritz-Carlton to meet with the National Mortgage Association president so I can explain to them how they're using the banking department and the LLCs to launder money, drug money, corruption money, which turned out to be the Pandora's box. So Carrie Lemieux sent me to Miami. They also sent a 6'7", what I thought was Russian, but I'm certain now it's Ukrainian, to meet me. No room service. Now, I catch Brian Toomey when I come back from that trip. So you'll hear that. Before they turned around, so in other words, they sent me there.
Right. And just remind everybody, just keep this in your head. Toomey on the left, correct?
Correct.
Carrie Lemieux on the right.
Right. What was replaced by Aaron Day and Eileen Landy working for the Mossad. They were working for Walker and Shaheen, the Department of Justice. So they went dark after this. But here was my trip to Miami. Now, the cover team, when this happened, you know who was covering it up? Eileen Landy and Aaron fucking Day. They sent me there to be murdered. Eileen Landy and Day came in to cover up the murder attempts. Not just there, but the one in jail and the one in my office in the conference room. Where Aaron Day, when the guy shooter came in, put the gun to my face, and Day was at the end of the conference tables with his big fat hands over his face. Why was it over his face? Because he knew I was going to get shot in the face. That was James O'Keefe. That's the Mossad. Okay. Now remember, I'm there. I'll explain it. But it was Carrie Lemieux who sent me there saying we had the call. It was Carrie Lemieux who made the reservations. It was Carrie Lemieux who had my room number. All right.
Mike Gill, state of corruption. Back in November of last year, I went to Miami. Not on vacation, but to meet with the mortgage director, the national mortgage director. That I was going to give him the evidence of corruption in this state and how the New Hampshire banking department is laundering money for drug dealers. I went down there and the meeting was set on the 28th of November. I got a phone call to say to bring the evidence outside the hotel. So I was at the stairs of the hotel at Ritz-Carlton giving over the evidence to what I thought was the representative from the National Mortgage Association. The next day, my hotel room was broken into. A gentleman, 6'7", approximately, but he was of Russian descent. He could barely speak English. Hold on for a second.
Have you ever heard of Rasputin?
Right.
That's Rasputin. which then
So this is Rasputin, a picture of Rasputin, but this is what the guy looked like.
well, he was Rasputin was 6'7", 6'8", and he was a Russian. So that's the closest we got. But yes, the guy had hair below his belt. And listen, we had the tape. What happened was Patriots got beat by Denver again. I remember getting up pissed. My son Clay was in the bed watching the show with me. And I went to go to the restroom, and I saw the door handle of my door and go down. I go, who the fuck is this? I was already pissed. I grabbed the handle, swung it open, and that asshole fell in. And then so in other words, I pushed him out into the hallway and wrestled his ass. I actually grabbed his hair and slammed his head into the wall. Listen, it brought the Miami police and security. And what I'm asking for is that tape and all the evidence for that. Who was blocking it? Eileen, Landy, and Day. It was Toomey, but more importantly, the Mew that set it up. Okay, hit it.
So you were pissed that who lost the football game?
Yeah. Patriots lost against Denver again. So
Patriots lost, and so you were pissed off, and that might have saved your fucking life, Mike. Your adrenaline and your anger from the fucking Patriots losing was in your body, so this motherfucker had to deal with that too.
The cops almost arrested me for attacking while we were getting arrested him. That's how pissed I was still. So you know what? It did get me up, and I was already in a bad mood. Bad luck for him. But I can tell you from fighting this battle, I've been in hundreds of fights.
Okay.
This guy was a killer. I seen what was in his eyes. And when I came back, I talked to Brian Toomey and told him they would have killed my son Clay, which was Toomey was crying and bawling, which is why Toomey, I got his computer and phone, and why he gave up Kerry Lemieux. It was what happened here and how I knew it. So when you see in the beginning, remember now, I'm taking you back, that computer, that phone, it's for what happened here. And more importantly, what didn't happen and what was intended. Because that bastard would have killed my son. And my son wasn't, he's a big guy now, but he wasn't then.
And that takes us back to the very first video that we shared that includes you holding what you were taking to the FBI. This was the computer, the envelopes, and the phone, right?
Right, exactly correct. That's why I showed you that and why I'm alive. But I showed you the path of how I got that evidence.
Wow. All right, let's get back to it. This Rasputin-looking motherfucker.
I told you the security came, the police came. I had to wrestle this bastard out in the hallway. He only tried to murder me. My son was also in my room, my 20-year-old son at that time, Clay. So he's also a witness to this. Now, we've been trying to get you this evidence. I've been telling you I want this video out there. I want this report out there. And they've been stalling us. So we, Ritz-Carlton, you know we started with? The corporate headquarters. They send us to the legal department.
Eileen Landy handled it all.
We then go to the director of safety.
Great.
Stonewalled. Director of loss prevention. Whose loss? Not mine, theirs. And then we ended up with a gentleman named Mark Crowley. Right. You're going to hear a conversation I had with him over the phone. Right. He hasn't got back to me since last week. And remember, we've been waiting for months and being shuffled off to all these people. Turns out Mark Crowley works in risk management. Not my risk, their risk.
Right.
They're covering up this crime. Now, who are they covering it up? Not just for themselves.
Mossad, Day and Landy.
Politicians who turned like Alex Walker. That's what Kerry Lemieux did. She gave them the schedule. She put the appointment together. They knew exactly where I was going to be. You know why I had to give them that evidence the day before? They wanted to know what I had on them. And it was enough for them to try to murder me. So you're going to hear this conversation with Mr. Crowley.
Yeah, Mark, this is Mike Gill. I haven't heard back from you.
Yeah, just because I'm still waiting on a little bit of information from the hotel.
What little information?
Well, the guys are busy down there, so they haven't been able to get back to me. That's not unusual with hotel operations.
I did tell you this was an attempted murder, and I'm running for governor, and this guy's still out there.
What does it have to do with your running for governor? That's what I don't.
Oh, like assassination and murder, because I'm fighting corruption in this state. I mean, let me understand this. This is a break into my room. Your security people stopped them, talked to them, gave me a combined an hour interview. And all I'm asking for is that report. So
And
what
the
does it have
Miami
to do
police.
with running for governor? Well, I mean, they did try to kill me. Now, your people have that. Mark, you still there?
I don't know what they have. That's what I'm still waiting.
But you're telling me they're busy. So in other words, I'm going to go national with this. And if you find out who I am, all you have to do is look. I don't make idle threats. So,
Look, I'm trying to get the information for you.
right, I know, but I've been trying to do this for 2 months, and Marriott keeps stalling me in Ritz-Carlton. Now, what's the problem with giving me the report from 11/29 of a Russian 6'7" breaking into my hotel room that we only interviewed for an hour? Now, I'd like that report. Now, I've only been looking to get it for, I don't know, since November of last year.
Well, you said the police came out. What about a police report?
Well, you know something? I'll deal with the police, but I'm dealing with you. You people wrote a report.
Mr. Gill, why are you screaming at me?
Well, I don't know. Let me see. I've been trying to get this for months. There was an attempt on my life in your hotel, and you're asking me now after all these months, and it's still a delay because they're busy. I don't know. What's more busy than someone coming into my hotel room to murder me? Is there something they're working on more important than that might take...
As you know, Mr. Gill, as you know, you haven't been dealing with me for months. When did we speak? On Friday?
Right. So I still haven't heard from you Friday, but I have been dealing with your company for months. And did I remind you that they sent me through about 5 different departments?
Mr. Gill, I can't speak to that. I'm trying to help you out now, and I will follow up and see what I can find.
Well, that's what I asked you to do, so it's been 5 days and I haven't heard anything. I mean, did you make a phone call over there and ask them to look at the report? Did they find the report? November 29th, 11 o'clock. Did you ask them that question?
Mr. Gill, please, don't insult me. Really.
So wait a minute, you didn't answer the question. Did you tell them the circumstances? Did you go over there? Who did you speak to?
This conversation is over. I'm not gonna listen to you like this.
Well, this conversation's going over the internet.
Well, that's fine.
Customer service. We want to have a recording of the quality of customer service. It's a real fucking Carlton. Right? And your name again is Mark Crowley.
That's right.
Well, you're going to have some questions to answer there, Marco.
All righty.
All righty.
Have a good day.
Go fuck yourself.
So
in all seriousness though, it's not funny, but it reminds me of that DEA motherfucker that wouldn't take the evidence. All of a sudden, like, why are you screaming at me? You're not even screaming. You're just talking with authority and fucking courage, and these little bastards shrivel up and then start getting nervous.
it's the Department of Justice that's talking to them. Do you know who was running the cover-up? Remember I told you it was Lemieux who sent me there. It was Eileen Landing and Day doing the cover-up. As I'm going to them going, hey, where the fuck's the reports and everything? It was the DOJ and O'Keefe with Day and Landy that were blocking it. They went on to block from my doctor the hair analysis, poisoning me in jail. They turned around and covered up the tape of them trying to murder me in my office. Who was it again? Aaron Day and Ilandy. Who was with me when I got the letters from the Kitka, all the stuff that Lullen took? Aaron Day and Landy. This is the Mossad. This is O'Keefe. This is Laura Lomer at the same time saying they were getting paid by the Mossad. You understand? And the Miami cops was just the same way. They all had the video. They all had the report, but it was covered up. And who sent me there was Lemieux after I refused. Barrington Lemieux. They sent me there to be murdered. Now, when I got back was the confrontation with Brian Toomey, and Toomey told me it was Lemieux. I took his computer. I took the phone. And then the cover up thereafter was to get me up through the IRS. And again, it was the payoff. Right. Aaron Day. Who recorded it? Aaron Day. Kill Gill, who reported? Aaron Day. To cover it up. Never to give it to me. That's what happened. I just didn't die. Okay, what did we get?
It's a damn miracle. But now we're at Granite Grok video.
Okay, now understand this now. Now this happened. What you're seeing is the cover up that had to do with Aaron Day and Landy. This is the moment that got Aaron Day into my life. So in other words, in the cover up, what they did was set me up at this radio talk show. I'm running for governor. In the middle of the show, George Lambert comes in. It gets even better. Lambert comes in, who works for O'Keefe, was the state senator, was running again for state senator, at the Libertarian with Aaron Day and James O'Keefe. Remember O'Keefe? In Day's house, they were running and putting offices together. One of them was Lambert. Lambert had to intercept me. All right, now remember now the coordination of the speech. I know this was off. You're just going to have to get past it. It's important evidence, but you'll get the hearing of it. But it was an interception of me with Lambert. The next day is when Aaron Day shows up. Mike Expecki shows up, the town manager. Ginta, Congressman Ginta. They all knew the cartel. They all knew it. But this is important because this is how Day got into my life. What you saw was the cover-up. And then it was the replacement of Toomey and Lemieux. Okay.
Damn.
The court case is going to get much traction until we have somebody in the White House who will actually not try to get in the way and defend the Shaheens, right?
Well, we can't do it. I'll tell you why. Ready? Every president-elect goes into these states, and you know what they seek out? The power brokers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the power brokers are? Generally the guy who's the most corrupt. Guess what? I mean, who do you think Hillary Clinton's campaign manager is? The same one Bill Shaheen and Gene had.
All right, we're going to get into some minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Yep.
Now, please remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. All right, well, we didn't anticipate that this was going to happen, but, well, it's here, and we're going to go with it.
It's lively. So FRN has been a controversy for a long time in New Hampshire. It was an evil Ponzi scheme. A lot of people got defrauded out of their life savings. The state
Hold on a minute.
failed to prosecute it, and now we have two.
Why that's important with financial resource management. It was Bill Shaheen's Ponzi scheme. It opened up to the banking department. The banking department, while I was trying to give the evidence to in Miami, the banking department that went in to open Pandora's box. Not the laundering network of New Hampshire, but the country. The same one Pandora's papers tracked 935 trillion. Okay? All of it was in direction for opening that door. So these victims and closing that door to the victims with the promise not to testify was this point here. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And 935 billion, right?
I'm sorry, billion. That's correct.
All right, let's get to it.
Two people that are actually involved in that mess from different angles, both in the studio, and it's going to get lively, folks. So let's go. We have George Lambert and Mike Gill. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
Go ahead with your accusation.
Accusation? How about this accusation? For years now, right? I've been putting stuff on my sign, running these videos, right? Who's suing me? Name one person who's suing me. Name one person who says I'm lying. When I said Shaheen ran the Ponzi scheme, Shaheen put Hildreth in. Hildreth had his brothers on it. Gallagher was Hildreth's best friend.
Hildreth is the banking commissioner.
Who was protecting him. Now, George, I made it very direct. I ran victim group now, didn't I, with these FRM
Yes.
people? And didn't I go there? Have I charged them anything? Said I was going to charge them anything?
I have no idea.
Right. How about this? Who's worked closer with them than me?
Probably no one.
Right. So, you know, I have sat down and talked to them. I've seen them cry. I've seen them not have money to buy teeth. I've seen all this. They all came to me and said that you were getting 20%. You came to them.
Yeah, I heard a little giggle there, Mike. Look how it's come full circle to where now you don't have the money to buy for your teeth.
And I'm getting a little older, too.
Yep. Damn.
And when I talked to Kevin Avard, who you were working with, had no idea you were getting 20%. Or is that not true?
That was totally true.
Oh, so why wouldn't you tell the
family-
state senator who was putting in the bill, who was sitting across next to you on the table, that you were getting paid? You think it might have hurt their chances knowing that you were going to pull 20% out? And think about this. What were you doing getting 20%?
That was
victims?
the number they offered me. One family, not all the victims, one family said, you know, we would like your help, and if we recover money, we will pay you 20%. We'll ask other people if they wanted to contribute. Doesn't matter.
Oh, so we're having a fund for you. We're contributing with a nice big fat can around the victims to say, who wants to give George Lambert money? How about this, George? First of all, I don't believe you, and I believe that was the deal, and I think we can prove it.
Go ahead.
How about this? Nobody's proven anything I've done wrong, and I've proven everything I've said, which is why I'm not being sued by all these large law firms.
Hold on.
Which is why the banking commissioner, which I call as a crook, won't.
No one sued me because they knew we were telling the truth until I got to the cartel. When I got the cartel, who O'Keefe and Day gave me. This guy Lambert was a politician, free stater. You're going to see this. This boy goes a little deeper than you think. Remember Flynn and Turkey? We're going to reintroduce it to you in a fucking minute. Excuse me. In a minute.
You're good.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can let them rip on this channel. Just so you know, Mike.
All right.
Take my license, right? Because Furlow's an insurance defender. Now, why is an insurance defender from the AG's office, who I reported the Ponzi scheme to, and came from McLean? See? So, in other words, that is the case. How about this, George? If we go with your side of the story, which is not true, it's completely immoral. How about this? Let's charge victims for recovery. You're running for an office. Listen,
No,
I'm not going to tell.
No, that discussion happened after I lost my election, and they asked me to continue.
Oh, they asked you. Now, why do you think they came to you? You know what they ccame to me and said? George Lambert told us not to tell you, in particularly.
No.
And they said, we feel uncomfortable with. Listen, you said no? How many people you want here next week?
All right.
I wish I had room.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to have to schedule it a couple of weeks out to give them a fair showing.
Yeah.
But let's give George a chance to talk for a couple of minutes, Mike. I understand you're wound up.
Hey, listen, George can say everyone. Listen, let's have George talk. Let's see how it goes.
All right. Well, as long as you give him a little while to talk,
Of
because
course I will.
then you can rebut his arguments. Because if we just talk over each other, we're not going to get there.
Of course, I understand.
And by the way, I'm going to put on the table, not because I'm saying this to defend George, but we're talking about here recovery actions of money in a difficult situation, for which my understanding
You mean
is
corrupt situation that was run by with the governor and and Bill Shaheen.
fine. But regardless of how it was done, when you have a legal suit to recover money, typically the attorney is not doing it totally pro bono, and usually there's a contingency fee that says...
Right, but who's the attorney here?
Well, okay, that says if I lose, it's my cost, and if we win, I get a small take. And I'll be perfectly frank with you. Most big firms that get into this stuff...
It's illegal.
Are looking for 30%.
It's illegal. He's not an attorney. He's not a lobbyist. So you can come to his aid all you want.
All right, no. Like I said, I was just putting that on the table as the fact that recovery actions typically involve...
Let's take the money from the guys who commit suicide. Oh, we can't get them. Now, there was 3 last year. But go ahead, George.
Right, so now let's give George the floor for a minute to explain...
Absolutely.
Or to tell us the sequence of events and to explain what he's doing and why it's not illegal.
I worked on getting this bill and support for this bill when I was running for Senate. I was very open and upfront about that. I went and saw the Attorney General, Richard Head, at the Attorney General's office. I collected material. I sent it out to everyone. When I was in the House...
What material?
I got Richard Head's notes. I got all kinds of stuff from
Hold
the
on.
website.
What did it say on his notes?
Richard Head was the Assistant Attorney General who was under Ayotte as the AG. Ayotte's now the governor protecting the Pandora's box from opening. So, and remember now, this guy's taken directly to O'Keefe and Day. And what they do was on notice. You'll see a video where I was trying to get the money back from these people. They were trying to have them sign a sealing order so you can't investigate the Ponzi scheme that would open the door to the banking department and the Pandora's box, a global money laundering network. So this asshole with the Mossad, with O'Keefe, was trying to shut that door. Okay.
And you were kicking ass at this point, right? This was when state of corruption was rocking and rolling. You were helping tons of people with your own money. You were getting lots of people behind you because they weren't able to stop you at this point.
And running for governor, which is why
and running for governor.
Smoke. Can you imagine me as governor?
That'd be fucking awesome.
Through them.
Oh my gosh, it would be the greatest thing ever. You'd become president. But they'd probably assassinate you before you got there. However, it would be beautiful to see.
I'm going to tell you, we're not going to make many friends with this. But
right.
Fuck them. When the sickest I've been pretty sick, it was important for you to know this. Know that what you're seeing is important. Now you know why Lori Lomer is saying, hey, I took money for Dr. Bob. Bet your ass.
And this episode has been fire. We're still going. But just know that Mike's been sick and he still put this shit together and he's still kicking their ass. And this might be your best ever, Mike.
I can tell you it's the most important. I can tell you there's nothing, not only in 20 years, this is the most important moment for you people to understand. Where we are, we can get our country back. They do fear us. They feel fearing the truth, which is why the cartel's taking out, which is why they're going to say Flynn went rogue, which there are issues with Maxwell back to New Hampshire. Everything comes back to this. O'Keefe, Lullen, Flynn, all of these, I didn't know them. They came to me. They came to me because what I had and where I was going. And when I turned around and put the cartel up on the sign, running for governor, they said, fuck this, kill his ass. Okay, go ahead.
And how they all knew about it in the Attorney General's office? Let's not call it material. Let's call it what it is. Go ahead.
After I lost my election.
What was in the notes, George?
All right. So let's.
Well, wait a minute.
Hang on. Let's stipulate a couple of things here. So there was a Ponzi scheme running with the knowledge of those in state offices and state law enforcement who
the
should
Attorney
have
General
been shutting it down.
Well, he got the notes from the AG, so they had it in 2003. So yeah, from
That's
the
Ayotte.
attorney from the Banking Commission. So when we call it material, I mean, hey, listen, this is a piece of paper. What's on it? So let's find out. George, you did read the notes, right? What did because I still have the notes, and so does the Justice Department. What does the note say, George?
I told you that the notes, the handwritten notes from Richard Head, were different and inconsistent.
Who was he talking to? What were the notes? There was one set of notes with a conversation. Now, who was he having the conversation with?
Actually, there were lots of...
You know, the woman that you were running against. You shouldn't remind...
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We had conversations with Donna Susie.
Who was the lawyer for the banking
The
department?
notes were in the discussion to Donna Susie exclusively, and then it was their conversation about other people, like me. But go ahead. So do we agree on those notes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so we do agree on those notes.
You know, hang on. We're not getting a chance to get a coherent.
A
Said
confession?
material and skip through it. How incoherent do you want to be? Would it only turn around the material spells out the Ponzi scheme that the AG's office and the Banking Commission knew?
I get it.
Who's
But
now
can you
your
pick it
governor?
apart, after he said a few words instead of.
Well, he said material and went through it.
All right.
Which I shared with anybody who wanted it. What I was trying to do is...
Who'd you share it with, George? Besides myself.
They're
They're going to be witnesses. Go ahead, George. I want to hear it. Who? You gave it to many people.
Yes, and I.
Who are they?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I will have to
First
check
of all, many, and we don't know. I mean, Jesus. Go ahead.
Well,
what? Many and not one? I'm the only one?
I'm.
He was only running against that candidate whose notes was hers with Heads. Heads only trying to shut me up with a summary judgment right now.
Hold on,
Right.
D. You know who took all my property? The Department of Revenue, who's on the 50 million, represented by the Assistant AG, Richard fucking Head. You got it? Protecting the Ponzi scheme, protecting the money laundering network, protecting the cartel. And that smiling retard. Right. That's James O'Keefe. That's Day. That's the Mossad. So
and this asshole, this asshole was running for senator at the time?
Yes. And who the notes were what? Was Donna Susi, who was the lawyer at the time for while the FRM was going on and was in the cover-up. What the notes were saying was that they knew about the Ponzi scheme for 6 years before, and they were protecting the laundering network. Why? Because it was Bill Shaheen's from the Department of Justice.
And I assume this guy won, right? This guy got in as senator?
He lost to Donna Susi.
Oh, okay.
But Donna Susi...
I don't know how the fuck you keep all these names fucking in your head. I just don't know how you do it after all this time.
Because it's that important.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then you had to come in and learn all these assholes in the truther movement, which is the liar, liar, pants on fire movement.
Which is why Flynn, the CIA, with an operation for the Department of Justice goes, we know who this guy is, which is why all those podcasters, the most important whistleblower of our time, it's why they heard me play the tape of Trump's lawyers trying to make a deal. They didn't understand I wasn't doing this for Trump. I was doing it for the American people. Right. But they were trying to flip me, which is why they kept me broke, which is why they tried to think. They always thought at one point I would break. But I never break because I understand the importance of what I have and what I hold. I am one man. Imagine what we could do, though. But remember what you're seeing here. We are in the spin. The Department of Justice is cutting these contagions. That's why, again, you heard Loomer. You watch. And listen, These are the smart ones. Remember I told you? I only get the dummies. You know why? Because the smart ones are too smart to turn around and confront me like this. Which is why, remember, Ariel, let's go on. Flynn, go on. Let's have a debate. Now you know why they don't debate me. And this guy won the election before. He was a state senator.
Oh, so he was running for re-election, so he was senator.
Right.
Oh, God. And he's got one of those weaselly little voices, too. It's like they pick these fucking little weasels, like literal fucking weasels. Fucking cartel, mafia, mobsters, motherfuckers.
Because of them finding out this.
I get all that, but if we stop George word by word, we're not going to get.
Well, when you talked about material with information that would quite literally would put these people in jail, I think it's worth more than a material statement.
Especially we just don't
when
have that kind of time, Mike. We have to let him get his words out. You can go ahead and rebut him after.
I'm fine, but you did hear him say many and then come up with zero.
I got that. And
I want George to go forward. Keep going, George.
Well, if you stop interrupting him, we'll get more, and then you can pick it apart later, okay?
Right. Well, we're out of time. Go ahead, George.
For this 15 minutes, maybe.
They didn't call me back.
There's more. You've got more time.
Go ahead, George.
Go, please.
After I lost my Senate race, the people I'd been working with to collect the information and sort of construct the whole story so that we could go out and communicate it to people in very small, understandable sound bites, because it's a very complicated situation, asked me if I would continue, and I said, really, I could potentially do something, and they said, well,
the fix
we
was
had
in.
a meeting, and they said that if I would actually work on contingency for them, that they would actually pay me. They picked the number. They picked the terms.
Blocking the investigation.
They said, a lawyer is paid this way. This is not in front of a judge or anyone else. And I didn't force anyone to do it. I didn't force anyone to sign a contract. I was working in good faith for the best interest of all of the victims and said, I'm not forcing anyone to do anything. Now, if that's the... if someone
George
wants
is going to get
a separate accusation, go ahead. Show it. prove it, bring anybody you want, but that's not me. People have known me for years, and I actually was trying to do the right thing.
Right. Well, I can bring all the victims,
Go
and
ahead.
they did say that I will. And you know something? They came to me about it. How about this, George? You just explained you broke the law.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you're not a lawyer. You're not a lobbyist. You broke the law. You didn't even tell, when you sat in that hearing and you spoke to it, did you tell that panel that you were getting paid? You were the same guy who voted against FRM before. Before you didn't vote for it, now you get paid, now you will. Everything I'm saying I can prove.
He knew it was a fix, so he tried to take money off the top.
Is Richard Head, the Assistant Attorney General, a criminal? And is he corrupt?
I don't believe that any court of law has actually found him to be a criminal.
That wasn't my question. I didn't ask you. I'm saying your personal information. You only took the guy's notes. Is Richard Head a criminal and corrupt?
I have serious concerns about the fact that there's a difference between his handwritten notes and the report he submitted to the Governor Executive Council. That gives me a great deal of concern, which is why as soon as
the same
found that
guy
out,
he has concerns about being a criminal is the same guy who took, while he's running an election, his notes. Now think about that. And you know what in those notes?
and I
It
gave them to
infers
you.
criminality. You're right. Who else you give them to? Who else you give them to? Right. You know why they gave them to me? I'll tell you why. So they knew I was going to be present at that meeting because I promised the victims I was. And I turned around and went to these people and told them about these notes. They knew I was going to do it. The only way they could have turned FRM over and gave them money was new evidence. How's that for new evidence that they produced? So they wanted to turn around and had George leverage it with these people to turn around, then sign releases that they wouldn't go after Hildreth. They were going to say, oh, it's just Hildreth.
And it
they weren't
stops
going
the
to go after
investigation.
Shaheen and the real corruption in this state. Right. That's exactly what happened. You can get all excited and all, but
I'm
listen,
not getting excited.
I
I'm
will
sitting here
prove
perfectly
everything.
calm.
You want these victims here? I'll have them here. I was at that hearing. You know, after you spoke, you walked right the hell out. I've got a tape of the on notice. You can get to see it. It's on the internet. And Kakavis only resigned 2 weeks later. You know
United
why?
States
Because I was
Attorney.
on his trail and have a witness that I'm going in
DOJ.
for immunity with that would put Kakavis in jail. And it goes right back to Richard Head, which you know is corrupt.
I only can tell you what I've seen, and I said it gives me serious concern, which is what I told you in your
When did you have
office.
concerns? After you took the notes or before the notes?
No,
Richard
I
Head's
got
been in
his-
every
I have
dirty piece of business in this state. What do you think they sent it? Judge McHugh, Richard Head. That's how it works.
I have had concerns about a bunch of things at the Department of, at the Attorney General's office. But
Department
after
of
actually going
Justice,
and
he stopped.
sitting with Richard for a number of hours.
Why did
you
he
know,
give him his
I
notes?
think he means well, but he's got a lawyer.
He's
to
a
speak.
crook, and you know he's a crook. He is an absolute crook. And
That was the
the
evidence
AG's
to
office
get the
is
money
the
back
cover
to
team.
stop an
Every time
investigation.
something goes wrong in the state, you go to the AG. I mean, the only ones that get fired out of the AG are their own people, and then they get hired back. You know why? Because they hold the secret. Why do you think Hildreth is in Kansas City and behind bars? Because he has the secret. He only
Thank
went
you,
in open court.
Commissioner.
If I go to jail, I'm taking Lynch and Shaheen with me. Right? Anybody figured they'd
the
want to ask the
governor.
question? Oh, I don't know. Why would you say that? No one did. They tapped him on the ass and said, oh, he plays Dungeons and Dragons 7 hours a week. The whole prosecution was corrupt. Alex Walker was part of it, my personal attorney. That I'm the one who brought the Ponzi scheme to him. And you know who I brought the Ponzi scheme to? Walker, Kakavis. And then I went to the AG's office. You know who I talked to? Furlow, who now became the banking commissioner. When does insurance defender become your banking commissioner?
Remember the video
Right.
doing the laundry?
Wilbur was the banking commissioner. You can't find him with a search warrant. He left. Didn't say why he was leaving. You know why? Furlow told me he was a Boy Scout. Wilbur looked at it and goes, I'm not dealing with this cover-up. So the insurers cover it up. Now, why do you think the insurers might cover up? Right?
Liberty
You don't think we
Mutual.
could have a class action shoot with a corrupt banking commission, do you? There's the answer.
We're going to take 30 seconds. And
There it is.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So understand the
crazy
setup
stuff in
of that. What I did wasn't letting them close the door to what was the laundering network globally. That 935 billion came from offshore accounts. All of it. Who is he? The Free State Project. You know, all these minions of assholes and Flynn and Day and Landy. That was him. Free State, the state senator. Now remember, this is going to get better. All right. Now remember, they were trying to get that evidence to give them the people who victims pennies on the dollar because they were all broke, they were all getting elderly, and then shut the door to an investigation. I was keeping that investigation open. This was before Pandora's papers tracked 935 billion, but it was the machine that they built. It's why they sent O'Keefe. And remember who followed after them. Okay, hit the next one. You're going to love this. Now, you remember Flynn in Turkey? Now, guess what? Remember I told you why I was investigating the cartels and so forth? I found that they were sending in drugs from Turkey into the Turkish Cultural Center, bring them in through rugs and so forth. Who were the agents? George fucking Lambert and the Department of Justice, Bill Shaheen. What? The DOJ and O'Keefe tied to the Turkish Cultural Center that was bringing in heroin. Now, how does that get connected? Who did those two? Department of Justice again. That connection, and that's O'Keefe. All right, hit it. Now, what I'm going to do is, and you'll be glad to hear we're at an end, but I'm bringing you back to the connection from O'Keefe. And why then? Then with from Howley. And Howley turns around with Epoch Times, connected with Roger Stone. What did we just show you? George Lambert with the Turkish Cultural Center. Who was Flynn taking money from? 15 million at one time they caught? From Turkey. It was all connected. It was Defense Intelligence. It's CIA. It's the Mossad. That is the evidence of insurrection on December 18th from 2020 from the Oval Office. Or you can hit the next one. I've known you've seen it before, but do you understand these are the paths? What did he ask for? The $50 million settlement. Who was on it? Shaheen, Walker, the banking department, the banking commissioner, the IRS. If you're going to steal trillions, you have to own them too. Flynn knew that. And why ask for that directly, again, from the Oval Office? Why? Because they were moving the insurrection. I get you the path of the Pandora's box. I get you the path of Flynn and the insurrection. I get you the path of the insurrection in Flynn when it went to Arizona through the brokered convention. Who was going to gain from this? Sununu and Haley. Why didn't Trump say anything? Because he was already in the Epstein files. This is also that shows you that Flynn had it from that day, from the right after the Oval Office, Penn National Racetrack, going back to that day, going back to the insurrection, which is also the reason why the DOJ sent Flynn, just like they sent O'Keefe. And then when I turned around and threw all right, you can hit the next one. All these podcasters, which is why they brought in Michelle. That is that brokered convention. That was on the tape. You never heard them say about the fact that there was no brokered convention planned. It was by Flynn and with the beneficiary Haley and Sununu, the military-industrial complex. You didn't think they knew they were going to bomb Iran then, protect the corruption in the Ukraine? Remember, Trump was going to end that in a day and never drop bombs in Iran. Well, what changed it? That changed it. So understand. Right. You can take that down. But that tells us, that gets us Flynn, which is why they want to take out Tina Peters and remove that. Because if you meet Peters can give you Flynn. Listen, Peters is guilty, but she turned around, can give you Flynn. Now, how does the DOJ separate that? By Flynn going rogue. Then all of a sudden you tie to O'Keefe. All of a sudden Laura Lomer's turning around and saying, I did take money from the fucking Mossad. That Flynn did go rogue. You see what I'm saying? And then what's left? Maxwell, who goes back to the same Bill Shaheen, the same Lullen, the same fucking New Hampshire. Listen, you understand the math on this? It's impossible not to be the case. And that's when they sent me to Arizona through Michelle Moore, where I get 5,000 the day before just to make sure I get my ass down there. Who was it calling out? The Sinaloa cartel. I never told them about the right turn to the brokered convention, which made it happen. They thought I was the DOJ. And then what happened? They confessed. That's why that's important. Every road goes back to the DOJ. They're taking out the cartel part. The only thing left with the cartel is Anagos. They can't give you Anagos because maybe you remember 274 million and their smiling faces on those signs. You know who was on those signs before the cartel? Walker, Shaheen, the FBI, the DOJ. Now you know why I was knocking on those doors? I was incriminating them with their own evidence. Why I'm alive is, remember that in the beginning you saw that? Because Lullin owned it. Why did he give it to AG Barr? Why did he give it to the Department of the FBI in Washington? So he could save his own ass. Okay.
Right before we move on from this one, people have seen this before. If you haven't, please look below the sad faces. This is Matthew Tuccaroni to Liz Harris. He says, Liz, we need that recording of that meeting that Mike was in with Liz Harris, Shelby Bush, some biker, and Matthew Tuccaroni. Liz replies, never. So therefore, she's admitting to having the recording. And then after that, Matthew says, don't you understand that this will help the RNC to understand Shelby Bush, and you don't want a brokered convention. That's their confession right there, motherfuckers.
And it went on to turn around of the insurrection, them working with Flynn. That ties in Tina Peters. It ties in with Shelby Bush saying 97% CIA, that she was working with Patrick Byrne. Patrick Byrne gave her $700,000. It was a convention. It was happening. The reason why it didn't come out? Because the DOJ stopped it. All of these people have Jeff Greenspan was also a witness. A biker was a witness. These people are all witnesses. No one denying shit.
Right.
Stacy Burke turned around, was working with them that whole time. That's why Rakeland is in. That's Aaron Day. That's why they were
right behind the guy in the red hat. Right behind the guy in the red hat. You can't see his whole face. See how he's lost a lot of weight? He lost a lot of weight after he went through Mike Gill, dealing with what happened with the whole Mike Gill situation and the cartel flipping his ass. But anyways, he's a lot skinnier now. He's still ugly as fuck. And he's the guy that's behind the guy in the red hat. That right there is Aaron Day in New Hampshire.
And what you're seeing is James O'Keefe and General Flynn. You know, see? And then what happens? What was he protecting using the laundering network? So's Flynn. That was the blackmail. That is extortion. But see, that's the connection here. All of it's connected.
Yep, and Rakeland tried to reach out to Mike many times. He has that in text, and Mike each time told him to go fuck himself.
In fact, the last time was in reference to, guess what? The brokered convention. And you know what he said? And I shared this. Mike has my number. Give me a call. They were trying to intercept where it was going from there. Who was it again? Flynn. And who did he send? Rakeland.
Yep.
These are the contagion. That's O'Keefe. That's Flynn. That's the Mossad. That's Defense Intelligence. That's CIA. That Shelby Bush mentioned by name. You know who she mentioned by name, CIA? Vandersteel. Okay? Listen, this has been a war for your minds. They were showing you what? Ship shapers and fucking dragons and werewolves and aliens. They were purposely confusing you. The media is controlled. Who owns it? Paramount, Disney? It's fucking entertainers. Listen, if they come to you politically, you know that there's lying. It's that simple. Why is all these media sources somehow based politically, whether it's left or right? It doesn't matter. Those people who lost their homes, they were Republicans and Democrats. The people that this country, we're 37 trillion in debt. 76 cents of our tax dollars goes to be paying interest to who? China? Number 4 on the list is the Cayman Islands. Who the fuck do you think that is if it ain't the cartels? This is one giant laundering network. By controlling the casinos, guess what? It is also part of laundering. I did that 5 years ago. I told you that that was before the Pandora's Papers. But it was after that when they sent that. Again, it was the connection in New Hampshire. We're not out of the circle, which is an impossibility. It's a war on your minds. They turned around and lied to you and bracketed you. Had you go left, had you go right. Listen, it's this simple. Our country is corrupted. It's headed by the Department of Justice. They use blackmail and extortion for control. That's Day. That's Flynn. That's the Mossad. That's CIA. That's why your Senate, your Congress, they're all corrupt. They're all thieves. And you know what they say to yourself? Because I've talked to enough of them. What could we do? Everybody else took the money. Do you think this isn't a look at? I showed you where the cops were getting paid, the state troopers were getting paid, the judges getting the game's fixed, folks. And we can get up. Listen, I started State of Corruption, an organization that I funded out for millions, tens of millions, but a platform to help you, a platform to help whistleblowers. That woman that came in married to the state trooper gave me it was from those people that I gathered evidence. These people, you don't Google that shit. You're face to face with it. You turn around and help them. So we can do this. My hope one day is when you figure this out, we start a national organization outside of this. We turn around and put these politicians, we give a whistleblowers what should have been the platforms for these podcasts for these whistleblowers. They gave you traps. Michelle Moore giving up my evidence, giving up my location. Right after the broker convention, who do you think the CIA came to meet me and who sent them was Michelle Moore. And the intention was to murder me because Flynn figured out the rogue end of this. He was in trouble because at the end of the day, it's all about self-preservation. Anybody comes to cross the path of the DOJ will be eliminated. That's the fear about all of these people. I built those paths. I'm even attached to Tina Peters. Is there somebody, a path, to open the door to the DOJ that I'm not attached to? Which is why the situation with Trump. It was his people that started the Russian hoax along with the DOJ to get you off there because he needed an excuse. Why? Who went to jail? Nobody. And the only person that went to jail, Maxwell, if they don't let her out, I know that there's talk about what they're going to silence her. You're not going to open that up. Listen, Elon Musk was even mentioned. He even turned around and said, what? I never went to the island, but he did go to his mansion in New York. So how did he know Trump was in the Epstein files? I'm just showing you that Trump's in the Pandora's box. His association with Penn National, his partnership with Penn National, it was enough to out Steve Wynn and his association with that casino for having him resigned. Remember, stop the contagion. I also believe it's why they're not selling gold or Rumble's not advertising gold and where they're pulling away. Could be the way in for the DOJ into the podcasters. Now that's speculation. But every time I speculate, there it is.
Right. Damn, Mike. And then everybody needs to remember, Mike was going through a really tough health spell, and he still put together, Mike, I think this might be some of your finest work ever. And like he said earlier, the most important. And he laid it out in a way you can digest it, and you saw it from a long time ago up into current day and how all the pieces come together. Please rewatch it and take notes if you have to, but this spelled it out brilliantly.
And you can go to watch on notice where I'm sitting and talking to this hearing. Again, it was a setup. They were closing doors. I'm trying to keep open the doors for this long because I know what's behind it. And if I've underestimated, it was always under the correct. I mean, I didn't know it was international, but I found them. And then the Pandora papers, what you saw with Epstein and Maxwell was over a year before the Pandora papers. When I met with the communication with Flynn was before the Pandora papers. So I gave you the bullseye and they dropped the trillion on it. Boy. So I'll leave you with this. You can't say you don't know. This is mathematically not anything but what I'm telling you it is. You know now. And remember, they control by fear. What do you have to do with fear? You stand up to it. You show courage. I've seen them melt. I've seen these tough guys. You confront them with the truth and you'll break them. You're not fear. People are afraid to comment. People are afraid to share. Then you can't complain what happens to you. You see these people moving into your cities, military and so forth. You see Bitcoin. After all this Bitcoin with Aaron Day, he wasn't into Bitcoin. He wasn't in the Bitcoin there. He was in the money laundering and protecting it. But here he is, the payoff. All of it is connected. It doesn't go well from here because this economy is sliding. They hid that from you too. These tariffs where you're paying double down on everything, they hid that from you. They had to hide it because everything I gave you was the path how they stole the wealth of this country. Who's left? The oligarchs. Who's buying social media? TikTok? Twitter? We got Paramount and Disney? It's all who has the money of this country and controls it by blackmail and extortion. We have a chance here. There's the door. Okay. All right, D. Thank you.
Amazing, Mike. I told you right before this, you said you were feeling a little bit weak, but I said even a little bit weak, you're stronger than all of them, and you just proved it. This is brilliant. Use the links down below this video. Access to Mike's website. If anything gets taken down, if any of these platforms continue to try to censor this, please know that website that Stacy is helping him put up is down below this. The Give, Send, Go was pinned in the live chats, but is also down below. Let's help Mike move forward. But like I said, even through a health crisis, he put this together, and this was brilliant. Thank you again, once again, sir. God bless you.
It was that health crisis that I understood fully the urgency of getting this out to you. You needed to hear the truth. And listen, they say I die of natural causes, and it could be, but I want you to understand it was their calculation, and they put me here. And listen, I'm okay with it. Assume you're already dead. That's how you function. Boy, that makes me laugh sometimes.
I hear you, man. Thank you again, Mike, and
Okay,
God bless you all for being here. Spread this as far as you can, wherever you can, and get the word out. If you didn't know, now you know. It's our responsibility to also step up in this fight. And
I'm afraid of this disappearing. I'm telling you now, I'm afraid of this disappearing. This is something that they do not want you to hear. Listen, the DOJ sent me a piece to help with the separation, but I wasn't supposed to tell you the rest.
Right. This is a big one. That's why we're saying share this out. I am going to also get this on Odyssey. Odyssey allows you to download the whole fucking thing, even if you don't share it right now. And then you can download it off, store it into a hard drive, an external hard drive, whatever you want to do. Participate in some way, but have some responsibility in this and help make sure this never disappears.
And if you're afraid to do so, then you're part of the problem. And they see that too.
Up.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much, Mike. God bless you. And God bless you all. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.